Sir, a second factory strider has hit the battlefield.
Your memory is incredible, for the record.
Dude, I love it. That's his tism.
What is YouTube's monetization policy on how to make a Killdozer?
Edit it! Do it now!
And the business, we call this foreshadowing.
Welcome to our other ad. That's not really an ad. We have new merch for this month. It's not PTSD, it's nostalgia. That's the back. Here's the front.
And then Nick, show yours.
And then my autism hates communism.
We have a lot of autism shirts.
Also, it's not PTSD, it's nostalgia. My
And we
favorite
have
part
mugs
of that, it looks like it's like the midnight style, like 80s outrun kind of like album cover, except there's the helicopters in the background.
Wait, there's helicopters?
Look out the window.
There is, yeah. Dude, and a PlayStation. Look we're all grown boys.
We're just a goofy group of boys. Just
So-
a wacky bunch of groups.
Welcome to the shit show.
Yeah.
We're ready.
Ready?
Oh,
Ready?
yeah.
Oh.
3, 2, 1.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Unsubscribed Podcast. I'm joined today by Eli Double Fat Electrician, the Aidans from Lore Lodge, Brandon Herrera, and myself, Donut Operator, and we appreciate the out of every one of you. I said the first 20 seconds.
Don't bleep it.
Okay, we're going to bleep that.
Or
Jason's
maybe
like,
we won't.
I know.
Fuck money.
We
Jason's
hate
like,
money.
Hey, we're on a good start. We are dry. Most of us are dry. We were out shooting guns for a Brandon video today.
Yeah, that was a good video, which by the time this comes out, that'll be well out.
Oh, yeah, Father's Day.
We recreated the Gary Plauche shooting where he basically decided that he was going to take matters into his own hands and not let the justice system be light on the man who, his son, and shot him in an airport like a fucking G and got away with it.
Such a good shot, too. Because we recreated that today in Brandon's video. The under the arm shot.
Yeah, and I think we only managed to get the head like 4 times, like square on the head.
Yeah, we
like
hit
3 or
him
4 times.
Everyone hit him. It was the 500.
Yeah, the 500 is a little fucking wild.
Nerves went up when the 500 came out, and then it's like,
We were 4 feet away, but the barrel was 2 feet long.
So
just knocks over the mannequin.
we started out with the same gun that he used. It was a 38 special, right?
Yeah, like a little 38 special revolver, something similar to what he would have used.
Yeah, and then we just got a
Competition
little
trigger.
Yeah, we got a little.
I forgot to talk about how nice that gun was. It was a very nice gun.
We got a little wacky though, and then we brought out the 500.
Because you know what? If anything's worth doing is worth overdoing, I think is what you said.
Science.
Especially when it comes to taking out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't he have like sunglasses on too?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys put on sunglasses?
Oh, yeah.
For
We
should've brought out
extra effect?
aviators.
Yeah,
iPro.
We did. We had our iPro on.
But those were those, yeah. We pretended to be on a phone. We're like, oh, hey, babe. Hold. And you turn and shoot.
That's my
Turn and
person. I don't know you.
But then you see how close he shot everyone else, and you're like, homeboy got lucky. He hit everyone. Camera did.
Or he didn't hit anyone.
Oh, yeah. Other than the guy he wanted
Yeah.
to. And then camera guy got super lucky when you like visualize where he's recording that little episode, and then homeboy's head goes down. It was a good shot. It was a fun video.
It was good. It was good. That little 38 was just bouncing around in his skull there. Camera guy didn't get hit. It was a fucking great day, you know?
Neutralized all those thoughts of children.
Wait, no, it was Connor. We can rebuild him better and with less love for children.
As he's scooping brains back into we have the technology.
How are you guys doing? How was travel? Welcome, welcome.
Dude, I hate flying so much.
Yeah, it was fine for me, but this poor guy.
Yeah, that's all I really had to say. I'm so glad I'm here. I am very grateful for being here. When I tell you, I was praying the entire time we were taking off and landing. I hate flying, but I'm glad I'm here. And Texas is very flat compared to Pennsylvania.
What is it about flying? What do you not like about flying?
I want to say that it's, got some sort of deep-rooted traumatic story where I was, born into a family of planes and then abandoned. But that's
9/11.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, God. No, so I don't even have that. I don't even have anything associated with 9/11. I get up there and I'm like, my entire life is in the hands of some guy in the cockpit who hopefully doesn't. Yeah, exactly. It's like, also the fly-by-wire thing, how they're like, oh yeah, Airbus, we would fly the plane with no mechanics. No, I don't like that. Like, how? Give me a mechanical backup.
Oh yeah, the new
Why
one?
French?
The new.
Because Airbus is a French company. Well, they're European technically.
Oh, side note,
Potato.
That's still disgusting.
Exactly.
I never knew.
You get
that
me.
2 months after 9/11, I didn't realize there was a. It was It's one of the worst plane wrecks ever. Was 2 months after 9/11. 9/11 happened though, so it didn't get much news.
Copycat.
No, it was the fucking plane went up. I know. New York plane left New York and just crashed. 2 months after 9/11, killed 250 people. I was
Jesus.
like, what? Just plane, just 747. Tanked in, guy pulled up, pilot used too much correction, broke the rudder, and it just fucking.
I have
to the
it.
ground.
I have it on good authority that MH370 was in fact sucked into a wormhole.
Yeah.
I've been reliably.
Your comment. Your
I
comment
fucking
section
hate
tell you
that
that.
guy. That guy, that Twitter guy,
I hate him.
Hey, I've seen
hate
Donnie
that
Darko. I know how this works.
Yeah, no. I mean, the toroidal donut wormhole shapes and the physicists.
He's the guy we showed. So Corridor, we gave him the VFX that was used for that shot, and he was like, "It doesn't match." It's like a 98% match, and it was still like, no, it's no.
Yeah, oh well, every pixel has to match. I mean, it's only a match if every pixel matches.
Because VFX artists don't manipulate any of their art to make it a little different.
And so that's the thing is like we appreciated what Corridor did. I'm a big fan of Corridor, and when Ashton was not happy with what we did, we were like, well, let's just take it a step further. I am not a VFX artist, so I just pulled up Premiere, and in a little bit in the second video that we did, I was like, hey, so here's the source clip they used. Here's how you color correct that in about 5 seconds. Here's how you match that up. It's not pixel for pixel because that's not how VFX works, but here's what it is, and you tell me how it looked.
It's if you were to switch it out, his with the one that's in it, you would not be able to tell. Like you would not know. The only difference was that because we were working with a YouTube video uploaded in 2014 that was, I think, in maybe 720, if that.
Yeah.
And he was working in Premiere in 2023 with, 4K graphics.
Yeah.
It obviously ours was sharper, but it looked exactly the same for all intents and
So
purposes.
for those, I vaguely remember this happening. I remember Corridor doing something on it, but it was a long time ago. What exactly was the original video and the claim?
Oh, so back in 2014, this account called Regicide Anon, up and already Anon, this is probably 4chan. Like, we all know that 4chan's whole thing is duping people. And this video is uploaded by Regicide Anon to YouTube in 2014. I think he claimed it was like March 12th, but I think the video was uploaded May 15th.
Yeah, it was a couple weeks after that.
Yeah, it was like
the
a full,
Malaysian flight.
Yeah, the flight was I think March 9th. This video he said he received on March 12th. He posted it May 15th. And this video is a thermal. Was the thermal the first one or the second one actually?
Well, they were technically both thermal. One was
Yeah.
supposed to be essentially an IR satellite, but it was a composite of like multiple different satellites. We'll ignore the fact that at that point only 2 of the supposed 9 satellites had even been launched. But aside from that, the other one was supposed to be a thermal camera from what kind of drone was it?
It was an MQ-1C Predator.
Yeah, and so it was 2 different videos from 2 supposed IR sources, and
Different frame rates, which I love. They just failed to ignore it. Like one is at like 10 frames a second, the other's at 30 or 60.
Yeah.
One's at 6 and one's at I think 24.
Yeah.
But both explosions have 4 frames in the
that-
explosion, which also means it doesn't fucking. It's not realistic.
Yeah, and so we pointed all of this out to the guys, but yeah, so it's this video. I don't know.
Dude, Ashton, by this dude it does not matter how much evidence you show him. He was like, nope. Wormholes, the government knows how to do portals. They teleported everyone out of there, and that's you can see based
Bro,
off
the government doesn't know how to get fresh water in Flint, Michigan. What the fuck are we talking
The
about?
government doesn't know how to build a website.
Yeah.
But we know teleportation.
well, the thing that makes me laugh is that aside from any of the portal elements, the most damning thing in my opinion was that in both of the IR camera footage, the heat signatures oppose each other. In one of them, everything else is cold and the plane's hot. And the other one, everything else is cold, the plane's cold.
Yeah.
So there's no way it's the same.
You can't win them all.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Oh well, it's been color corrected," and you're like,
So
it's been edited. You're saying?
Yeah.
they have the exact cloud image that it
Yeah.
was used. Like they went that far as they found a cloud on like NASA.com or like the Weather Channel that was used
As the asset?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's been handed all the assets, and Ashton, still to this day, if you go on his Twitter, he's trying to get on Joe Rogan to prove how this is a real theory. And you're like, oh. It's the one dude I don't like. There's a couple. He's one of them. The other's
Now,
the one guy.
here's my conspiracy to that conspiracy. He's a paid government plant to make conspiracy theorists sound crazy.
I have accused him of that. I'm not even kidding. I'm not sure how serious I was. I think I was probably drunk, but I was like, everything you do makes people like us seem illegitimate. Like, I think exactly what I said was you're the CIA's favorite creator right now, or something along those lines. Was like, because you think about it, all he's doing is getting up there. He's like, oh my God, look at all of this evidence and all this crazy stuff that's going on. And then you look at it and it's clearly not real. And then the people like us were like, hey, so the government kind of did, the Tuskegee experiment. Everybody thinks that like the government infected people with syphilis and then checked out. No, they took people who already had syphilis and told them they were treating it. But then in 1946, they went down to Guatemala and actually did that.
To more people.
Yeah, to
way
more people. And keep in mind,
this is just like the how the government will fuck you.
Well,
we opened that video with Wendigoon's quote. And remember, kids, if you think the government wouldn't do that, they will. Like it's whatever.
Oh,
it was.
yes, they would.
Oh, yes, they would. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we opened the video with that.
We did,
but in 1946, they go down to Guatemala and they infect people with syphilis and gonorrhea and all these different diseases.
Sounds like spring break to me.
Yeah, exactly. I gave a content warning for the first time ever. We have never given a content warning, trigger warning, anything like that, because I felt sick reading the thing I was reading.
How did this entire thing? We'll start with this piece of history because I don't even know that side of it.
Okay, yeah.
I know
It
Tuskegee.
all started with Woodrow Wilson.
Fucking most shit started with Woodrow Wilson.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, no, it was. So I think if I remember correctly, I think it started under Roosevelt, but the Tuskegee experiment was.
Oh yeah, the other guy that's responsible for most of the shit. Yeah, Woodrow Wilson's my least favorite president who wasn't in a wheelchair. Anyway, sorry, you triggered my two fucking hated presidents.
Like the wheelchair one caught me off guard.
Fucking go back in time and Spartan kick him down the steps.
Oh my God. Yeah. But yeah, so Tuskegee, what happened was in the 30s, right? It was late 1920s they planned it.
Yeah.
And back then they did not have antibiotics. You didn't have anything. What they thought was the same way chemotherapy works, where they were like, we're going to give you a whole bunch of toxic chemicals and we're going to hope it kills the bacteria before it kills you. And that is how they did things. And it worked sometimes, depending on what the disease was. With syphilis, it was not a great success rate. And in Norway, there had been this study, this retrospective study of syphilis, where they went and they said, all right, basing this off of cases we've already treated 20 or 30 years ago, how can we review these and see what the progression of syphilis is in an untreated patient? So all of these people had already either been treated or died. There was no ethical concern, just reviewing case data. The precursor to the CDC, one of the precursors to the CDC, which was formed out of like all these different public health departments, goes, hey, you know what? I'm really curious about this thing that they already totally figured out because it's 1930 and we think that black people have different immune systems. They don't. They are more susceptible to certain diseases.
Like sickle cell and things like that.
Yeah, but
very specific instances.
Typically, there's not a bacterial disease that affects races differently than each other, unless they have another underlying condition related to their race. So there was no reason to believe that syphilis affected black people differently than white people. They had all of the data. I think they just wanted to do something, they wanted to do some mad scientist evil experiment thing. So what they do is they gather up all of these African-American men, I think about 600, and they told them to come in and get tested for syphilis. And at the time, they just called it bad blood. They weren't telling you what you had. It was just you got bad blood. Because it didn't really matter. Because there was no differentiation in treatment. You were getting the same treatment no matter how bad your blood was. And so they brought them in. They tested them. About half of them had syphilis. About half did. And then they told them they were treating them all for syphilis. And then they treated none of them for syphilis. So here's the thing. This starts, I think, 1930, 1931. Somewhere around there. It's been a while since we did the video. They don't treat any of them for syphilis. They go to the local hospitals and they say, none of you are allowed to treat these men for syphilis. That's against the rules. If you treat them for syphilis, like, the government's coming after you. And
Jesus Christ.
That's what's that? The Hippocratic Oath.
yeah, exactly.
You fucking treat these people. We'll kill you.
One of the worst parts was they went and they found an African American woman, a nurse, and they, convinced her to be the woman who would go pick these men up and drive them to their appointments for their medicine, which were actually appointments for them to track the progression of the disease. Because again, it wasn't being treated. Now, here's the thing. First of all, a whole bunch of people who were not infected with syphilis at the start of the experiment, by the end of the experiment, were infected with syphilis. Because they took this community and just told everybody they were being treated, so syphilis spread wildly. Yeah, and then the worst part is that World War II happens in the middle of this experiment. And over in Europe, you're seeing all of these people getting shot. They're getting torn up on barbed wire. They're getting infections, and they don't know how to treat them because the arsenic sure as hell ain't doing it. So they start working on antibiotics. And there was this guy, Fleming, who had come up with an antibiotic, a mold that was weird. It wasn't supposed to work. Britain didn't see any use in it and said, we don't have the facilities. We're at war. I don't know if this works. We need more testing. So he went to America. The U.S. government funded it and said, all right, we'll do this. You get penicillin.
Yep. Mold created penicillin.
Yep. So by 1945, 1946, penicillin is a known cure for bacterial diseases, including syphilis, because guess what? One of the most common diseases amongst American troops in World War II was?
Syphilis.
Turns out a lot of French women have syphilis.
Another reason why we started out in the beginning.
Exactly.
Disgusting Europeans.
So in 1946,
You're welcome again. For the second thing in the same time frame.
you have all of these. Now you have mass-produced penicillin. Everybody knows penicillin works. And what do? They keep the experiment going.
Yeah. When did they finally kill the experiment?
It was 1972.
Fuck me.
Because somebody found out. The media found out, and they started publishing articles on it. And suddenly the CDC, who were like, we knew this was happening, but we weren't really paying attention to it. They were like, oh, we should probably shut that down. But the problem was that in 1946, they had sent another doctor over to Guatemala to infect a whole bunch of people with syphilis and study it, even though, again, they had already done this study. And somehow, the Guatemalan government, I guess, didn't know about the specifics of what was going on. But it gets worse because he went from willing test subjects to soldiers who didn't know what they were being given to mental hospital patients. This guy was the American Mengele. Yeah, I mean,
so he's just going, all right.
Whatever happened to this
He
dude?
was like, I don't know. These people are asking too many questions about the injections I'm giving them. I think I'll go ahead and start going with people who have no choice. And then the soldiers had a few too many rights. So he went with mental hospital patients so that they wouldn't even realize what was happening to them. And there's one thing he did to one woman that I can't describe because it's
This
that
is
bad.
like Unit
731?
It's up there.
What was his name again?
It's escaping me right now, and that bugs me so much. I can look it up really quick.
Just wanted to
Whatever-
make sure I didn't miss that.
Whatever became of him?
He lived out the rest of his life.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah.
In Argentina?
No, he
probably?
came home to the U.S. He came home to the U.S. and went back to work at the CDC.
That's fucking wild.
He worked for the CDC?
Yeah.
The whole time.
Yes.
Christ. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. It's just...
Don't you remember that one
That
time
was
we had?
killing me. I'm sorry.
I know.
Don't you remember that one time
Charles
there was
Cutler.
a pandemic and then there was a big political talking point of I don't understand why the African American community doesn't trust us. That was a big
Weird.
part of the reason.
So when
It's
they
a really
went
big
down
part of the
to-
reason.
Where did he go? Where did they go to for so you had Tuskegee, and then they tested it where?
Guatemala.
Guatemala, yeah.
And they just let it-
Tuskegee, Alabama, and then Guatemala. I forget. I think it was Guatemala City.
Just made me think of that meme. It's like libertarians, the black community, not trusting the government.
So wait, it was Guatemala. They're just like, hey, we're just gonna have it.
They went down to Guatemala and they told the Guatemalans they were conducting an experiment and that they were going to start with prostitutes. I think it was. It was prisoners. Sorry, I forgot how
I was
bad
gonna
this
say,
is.
oh, great! You don't start with the super spreaders. That's
Yeah.
a fucking great
Who
idea.
did we test
I
this on?
forgot.
The prosties.
I forgot how bad this was. Yeah, they started off with prostitutes, and what they did, they also at one point, I think there were a few children involved. They started with prostitutes because Guatemala had a rule where if you were in prison, you had a right to still hire prostitutes for reasons. And so that's what happened is they did that, and they said, all right, what we're going to do is we're going to give the prostitutes the injections.
I mean, it's
and
a
we're gonna
conjugal visit if you think about it.
Exactly.
You know?
They're going to give the prostitutes the injections, and then they're going to go and they're not going to tell the prisoners, not going to tell anybody, and they're just going to monitor how it spreads throughout the prison.
Let's be honest.
It's a more contained version. They've already done something wrong. Right?
Let's be honest, homie. If you told the prisoners, they wouldn't give a fuck.
That's probably true, yeah.
Now,
Yeah, you're in prison, dude.
they're like, will it kill me?
They're like,
It will? How long?
I've had Boosie for many years.
This boosie. So it just spread throughout that. How long did that go unaccounted for? Until
That
we're
one was 2 years.
And then we just stopped it? Or?
We stopped it because the Guatemalan government found out what was going on, and then I think the Obama administration apologized in 2011.
God, we're good at waiting like decades.
Yeah.
And it was kind of half-hearted. It was kind of half-hearted, I'm not going to lie.
We're sorry we got caught.
Yep. But like, we won't say it until there's nobody left to get angry at us.
And now imagine, I can't wait till the 7,000th episode of Lore Lodge when you guys pass the torch, 100 years from now, where we're talking about COVID. Like the same way. Like,
Here you go.
they fucking knew. They knew.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's like, this is why they're on the channel. Like, you guys have, like, I listen to your shit. I didn't realize I listened to it a while ago. I think when Show initially posted, she's like, hey, Lore Lodge is coming up. I was like, oh, let me check. And then I had videos like red. I was like, hey, I watched this stuff already.
Hope
Cool.
it wasn't too long ago. That stuff was embarrassing.
But speaking of some of your more recent content, it's been a while since I've checked on your channel, but I saw that there's actually a video that I didn't know was you guys, the Killdozer video.
Yeah.
Because it got pushed to my feed so many fucking times. That video exploded for you.
Which goes on to this topic. Brandon, what a transition.
Oh, that was unplanned. I just,
It works.
No, I know, like,
I was also unplanned, so.
Me too.
Same.
Yeah, I think we all probably were.
I don't know
that
about this
explains
one.
a lot
He went
about
to
this
private
table.
school.
You just
We're
had to
all-
out me like that, didn't
Yeah.
you? Incredible.
Okay, Aiden,
I wasn't ready to open up a bit.
Aiden and Clarence is what it is now. Aiden,
Jeffrey.
I don't want to hear about it.
Eli! I'm a ghost.
what are you doing?
I'm here to tell you about GHOSTBED.
Is this an ad?
It might be an ad.
Why are you in my bedroom?
I don't know, scoot over, let's talk about it. Every Ghost mattress has a 20-year warranty. Some even have a 25-year warranty. And you can try them out for 101 nights, worry-free. If you don't like it, just send it back.
I don't like this.
No hard feelings. One of our favorite things about GHOSTBED is that it has cooling technology. So if you get hot at night, like we do down here in Texas, it's a lifesaver.
I'm uncomfortable.
But you're not hot, are you?
I'm uncomfortable.
But you're not hot, are you? GHOSTBED also offers bundles, so they have everything you need. Just choose one of their 4 mattresses and pick your bundle.
Why are you doing this to me?
4 mattresses!
4?
Right now, GHOSTBED is offering 50% off all their products. Just use code UNSUBSCRIBE at checkout or go to ghostbed.com/unsubscribe.
Please buy some ghostbed.com/unsubscribe.
I'll be under your bed if you need me.
Before we go into like Killdozer, how much research do you put into a single video? Because I didn't realize how much you deep dive, but your missing person files, you go through like, hey, here's what I think, this is why I think this is what they found, here's their like you go through all the information.
Is that the missing 411 stuff?
Yeah, the missing 411 cases.
Insane amount of research, and then having your own like mindset of what happened. I was like, oh, dude, like does his way more research than.
It's a lot. When we were doing the Killdozer video, I think I was up till 6:30 in the morning 3 times.
Yep.
And I had started work around noon the previous day.
Oh, to be young and not out of row.
Yeah, it's definitely catching up to me. It's catching up to me. This ain't gonna last much longer. That's why we have the network coming up. I'm like, I need to do less work. I need to be putting out a video every 2 weeks so that I can like
At a certain
not
age,
kill myself.
you just kind of have to transition to being the boss that delegates versus the workhorse.
We're on that tipping point of the seesaw right now because we'll trade off days of the week in which we both stay up until 3 to 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
For him, it's usually
It's usually like Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, and for me, it's usually Wednesday, Thursday. And like to give context, especially for the Killdozer video, we were supposed to film that on Monday.
Yeah.
We mostly ended up filming Wednesday, a little bit on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And during his research, I think I got 3 calls at different nights
Yeah.
at like 4 in the morning, roughly. And he was like, you know, I'm sleeping, my girlfriend's next to me, she's asleep. And he's like, all right, so tell me if this makes sense.
It was like midnight, first of all.
Okay, not all of them. Okay.
Sounds like Cody when he drinks and texts
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah. But the thing is, most of the time, if I see a call from him after midnight, I know I'm about to spend an hour on the phone confirming or denying what makes sense in a conspiracy.
You ever see House?
Yes.
Yeah.
The show House? He's like my version of House's team,
Yeah.
except just Chase without the accent.
Yeah. It's,
So you're an absolute asshole to him. is what you're saying.
Generally.
Yeah.
you walk around with a cane, everything.
fire
It's
him
always
once a week.
lupus, you know.
Yeah.
Always lupus.
No, so yeah,
Not
I'd
spice.
say probably 40 to 60 hours of research goes into each video. I usually start Wednesday. We're switching up our schedule now, but like for example, I'll start from now on when we get back this weekend. I'll start Monday, and then I will research all day Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then we will shoot Friday. So 4 days of research. Usually pull in right now, you know, probably 50 hours. I'm trying to get it down to more like 40. Hopefully that's doable. But yeah, because what happens is you go through the story the first time and you're like, okay, well, I have questions about this, this, and this. And then you go to find answers to them, and then you end up finding answers, but then you have questions about 8 other things. And it just, I find myself going through the entire
rabbit
story
hole.
like 5 or 6 times, just adding details and making sure things make sense.
It's what Nick does every time. He made a new video because, was it the cheese video? Was off of something else, and you're like,
Oh, the ice cream video led to the cheese video? Yeah, that was
The cheese caves and all that.
Yeah, you're like,
I
oh,
was-
okay, right.
I was talking to, I think I was talking to my girl. I don't remember what I was saying, but she was like, oh, you should have Nick do a video on this topic. And I'm like, I don't have to ask Nick to make a video on that topic. I can't remember what it was. I'm like, I don't have to ask him to do that. All I have to do is ask him a question like, hey, Nick, why is this the way it is?
You're going to upset me.
And then I'm like, a week later, I'll get a phone call like, all right, listen here.
today we're talking about, and then the video's up. It's great.
I called Cody the other day about fucking FDR and Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
I was fucking having
Yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah.
were on the phone for 30 minutes about FDR and Star Wars the other day. It's like, Cody, let me ask you about something real quick. You like Star Wars, right? I'm like, yeah, I like Star Wars. Yeah.
Hold that thought. I'm walking into the gym. He hangs up. No,
I was at the gym. We talked while I was there.
I like we all know our friends so well. We always say it's like Nick will call before he's doing something, and it's usually 5 minutes before he's about to do something.
It's like, Cody, let me talk about FDR and Star Wars. And I'm like, Nick, I have no fucking idea what you're talking
You
about.
got some
right
time
now,
though? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
I think I'm right about this.
I'm on his side.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm with you.
Executive order
Which one?
I guarantee you whatever you're thinking.
3066.
I don't know him by number.
Japanese internment camps.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, no. I was just like, Nick, that makes a lot of fucking sense, buddy. It just came out of nowhere. Like, Nick
saying.
never calls me.
Have
And
you
he
ever
called me to
explained
tell
that?
me about
No,
that.
no, I was saving him for my 442nd video, but it doesn't matter. It's like, no,
Very
the
specific.
infantry, the division, the all American or the all Japanese American combat division from World War II. But so Executive Order 3066 was FDR's executive order to put Japanese American citizens in internment camps, and in Star Wars, the Emperor, a dude that was like always sitting down and kind of old, also gave an executive order that was just Executive Order 66, where he was going to get rid of all the Jedis, which kind of sort of dress and act like samurai, which is kind of like Japanese to my brain.
Actually, it was based off of Hidden Gate. The first Star Wars is based off.
Yeah,
of,
he
Akira
structured
Kurosawa.
it off Kira Kurosawa. You would know more about this than anybody.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah, absolutely.
Fortress of what is it? Fuck. Yeah, that's random enough.
Wait,
so
what?
technically, it was the first Star was based off of a samurai movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the plot structure.
So now I'm like,
I knew it.
All right, this is going to be a video now, isn't it?
Executive
Oh,
Order
yeah.
66.
Nick's like, I knew it.
George Lucas poking fun at FDR, calling him a dickhead.
I love how like there's like a graph. The amount of times FDR has been mentioned on Unsub Just spikes on this episode for no reason.
I remember being in high school and going through my like U.S. government and history courses, and everybody being like, "Oh my God, FDR, the greatest president, FDR, so great," and you'd like start listing the things he actually did, and it's like drove America further into debt, worsening the Depression, put Japanese people into camps.
Yeah, why does every U.S. history teacher foam at the mouth about FDR? And
Pretty sure he cheated on his wife.
The liberal how?
He had polio, not a broken spine.
I love how he is though, like the revered, like progressive hero. It's like, he's the only president that's ever imprisoned people based on race alone.
Exactly, like
not a great superlative.
And it's like the sheer sadness of the fact that he was a relative of arguably the greatest president we've ever had just breaks my heart.
They're like second cousins and inbred, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, back to those Europeans.
Okay, so research. A lot of research goes into each and
it's
everything you do.
It's a lot. I usually end up going through the story a few different times. It depends on what we're dealing with. In the Killdozer situation, the hardest part of it was the fact that, Marv Heemeyer's manifesto is a series of 4 tapes. There is no written manifesto. It's not even really a manifesto. There's a lot of guys like the Unabomber, they wrote it out and there was some structure to it. They were trying to make a point.
Well, yeah, Marvin was too busy welding.
Well, he hit record and was like, God sent me on a mission.
Literally, he's like, so one of my friends said I should probably write down the way I'm feeling, but I don't feel like writing it, so I'll just do this, record a tape, I guess. And he's like, back in 91, it just starts and it like just goes. And so
how long are the tapes altogether?
It's like 12
2 hours, 44 minutes. 2 hours, 44
only 2
minutes.
hours?
It's only 2 hours and 44 minutes, yeah. But he goes through the whole thing, and at one point, it seems like maybe he got in his car and started driving because the audio gets really weird. So I paid for a transcription service and just had the whole thing transcribed. But the problem is it kind of gave up. So you
wrote his manifesto?
Yeah, exactly. I gave up. There's something really dark about the fact that I had an AI transcribe his manifesto. God. Now that I think about it, that's a little dystopian.
Uncle Ted would be very sad.
Uncle Ted would be very confused, if we're being honest.
You just put some really great learning potential into the AI system, though.
Oh God, you're teaching it that? The AI is like, I agree with this. I agree with this.
Now you got 400 up-armored cyber trucks that are going into the metropolitan areas.
You type into ChatGPT and you're like, what do I do? I'm having this problem with my HOA. And they're like, I suggest purchasing a Komatsu D.
Well, actually,
oh my God.
The AI, the Terminators, it's just a Matsu.
There are different.
Tread on them.
As soon as AI learns how to pour reinforced concrete, we're fucked. Avoid the hardware store.
Don't teach it.
No, I go the other way. Marvin, watch out. There's a basement.
You just hide in Home Depots.
Reinforce the radiator.
Yeah, that too. Oh my God. But yeah, so I mean, if you look at the whole situation with the tapes, I had to transcribe them and I had to read them through, but the transcription software gave up. It gave up on punctuation, on formatting, any of that about a third of the way through. So you have like the first third of it probably, not even, I'd say probably the first fifth, is formatted as paragraphs. Some of them don't make a ton of sense. It missed certain lines that he had spoken. I had to re-listen to it. Then you get about 20% of the way through, and it's just a wall of text with no periods, commas, paragraph breaks, anything, and it just goes for the next hour and a half.
So the AI slowly lost its grip on reality.
Literally, I think I drove the AI
ranting at you.
And here's the thing, I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's just the length of the video or something like that. No, I ran through our entire Donner Party video, which is 2.5 hours long. I ran it through that system, came out perfect, exactly to the way I'd spoken it. And I was like, oh no, it's the AI just went, I can't keep track of what's going on. So I had to work my way through that, and what I would do is I would take, all right, so the movie Tread, which was made by Patrick Brower, who was the editor of Sky High News, I took that, and I took Mark Heemeyer's tapes, and I went, okay, like let's compare them. What doesn't match? And then anything that didn't match, I went through and I checked, okay, are there news articles? Is there a witness testimony? Was there a court case? Something like that, and I'll pull it all together. And what I found, interestingly enough, every single time there was a disconnect between Marv Heemeyer's version of events and Patrick Brower's version of events, it was Patrick Brower that was lying. Every time. which was interesting. It makes you think, right? Things that make you go, Yeah. But part of the problem was what you're dealing with here is this is not something that was really heavily covered on the ground outside of Granby. You had Granby's local journalists, who was basically Patrick Brower, who's just reporting his feelings on the topic and what the people who are still alive have to say. Marv, of course, is dead. Nobody knows he had any sort of tapes yet, any of it. So I guess you can give them the credit of maybe they didn't totally know why they were being attacked. But
I'm pretty sure you could put together some context
probably.
clues.
Like that guy I really pissed off drove a bulldozer through my business. Why?
Well, here's the thing.
Why, Gary?
Why, Gary? Why?
Here's how you know that they knew they had done something wrong. When after he left Cody Docheff's plant and he hit Mountain Park Electric?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he hit Mountain Park Electric. The moment he drove onto that property, every single one of the people he eventually was going to go after knew they were a target and started evacuating.
Yeah, because didn't he got in a bulldozer fight with somebody?
Yeah, with Cody Docheff.
Oh yeah.
And so you
What's
didn't
a
do anything
bulldozer
wrong.
I think it was
Oh, there's
his
video
son
of it, I
got
think.
in a
No, it's a
bulldozer.
video. I don't think it was it was something.
It was
way
another
lighter than a
piece of
bulldozer.
equipment.
It was
There were
it was
two
like a
things.
backhoe
Yeah, there were
or something. It was something that stood no chance against a bulldozer, and he just literally just pushed him right out of the fucking way.
I just like he was like, I got a backhoe. Back down in
no,
there.
it
He's
was
like,
like-
let's do this thing.
Big boy battle bots, dude. He came out and they were like ready to go at it, and then fucking Marvin just like pushed him out of the way into a ditch.
Like somebody going ape shit with a katana, and you're just like, cool, I got a pocket knife.
And they've tried shooting at the thing.
Yeah.
you gotta try. In fairness. What if it's? I mean, it's like the Death Star with the exhaust port.
Yeah.
Which, in fairness, was his fatal flaw.
Did you know they threw flashbangs? Yeah, they threw flashbangs down there.
yeah.
Like,
Which didn't work, did it?
but also I'm thinking about that. I'm like, you threw flashbangs down the exhaust. You could have blown the thing up. Like,
It was diesel.
still.
No, the whole thing came to an abrupt end, and it only took one round at 357, though.
Yeah,
Crazy.
Yeah, crazy.
I'll do it.
R.I.P.
But yeah, I mean, if you look
was,
into the story,
The moral
it's-
is don't f with the dude's name Gary. Apparently.
no, he was Marv.
Oh shit, my bad.
Niemeyer, Yeah.
So Marv was just, I mean, for the people
Gary
that
and
know,
Marvin.
we can go
Sorry.
into this just
Yeah.
explaining.
I'm
Like,
happy
if
to
you don't-
explain. Yeah, I
if
mean,
you
we have the
don't
full video
know
on
what
it for anybody who wants
yeah.
to see like
Which is
see it
great.
laid out in
Yeah.
order.
Because Marv was a light guy from your video. Like,
Yeah.
he
looked
was
totally-
very like.
He was well liked. Yeah, everybody from he lived up in Grand Lake, which was about 16 miles away. Everybody in Grand Lake had only nice things to say about him. Like I could not find a single example of somebody who lived in the town he lived in who had something bad to say.
Until that one thing.
Well,
No,
no, that was
no,
the thing.
he
Is
moved.
so he owned a business in Granby. He lived in Grand Lake. So everyone in Grand Lake loved him. Interestingly enough, the only people they interviewed about Marv's character for Tread were people who were negatively affected by him in Granby. They also interviewed people from Grand Lake who were friends with him, but nobody from Granby who knew him except the people that were targeted.
Yeah.
Which makes me wonder, did the people in Granby also like him and they just weren't saying anything? Because if you look at the statements in the newspapers, that's what it suggests, is that nobody saw this coming. Because here's the thing. Everyone in town, from what I can tell, was well aware that he was building an armored bulldozer, and nobody thought about why.
Which even he did. Even in his tapes where he's
Yeah.
like, he kind of took it as like a sign from God
Yeah.
or something. He's like, yeah, the inspector just walked right through here, saw what I was building, and was like, okay.
No, his friends would come over and hang out, and they were like, yep. He's like, Steve came over today, and he saw that I'm building a giant concrete reinforced killdozer, and he didn't bring it up, so I'm taking this to mean that God has sent me on a mission.
Yeah, literally that.
Yeah, and it's on the one hand, you're kind of like, most of the time somebody's like, yeah, God has sent me on a mission to do this thing. You're like, come on, man, you're delusional. In this case, I'm kind of get it.
In fairness, if my friends came over to my house and saw I was building a concrete reinforced bulldozer, they'd know fucking exactly what I was going to do with it.
You know?
Hey, Connor, you. I'm like,
How
Connor,
we doing, bud?
Connor, let's not do it at the let's not do it at the unsub house. Take it anywhere else.
I'm still windows lighting up at night from the welding.
I take a place from the neighbors.
I've still wanted to do that just to have one. The funny part is we're
Just build it, right?
Yeah. No, I just think it'd be cool for the channel or whatever.
There's a guy with one of those that you can contact.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Whistling Diesel built
Oh,
a
that's
Killdozer.
right. No.
Yeah.
Not only that, but he also had like one of those like YouTube minds think alike.
Yeah.
Because he was gonna he took it to Granby, and I always said that was what I would fucking do with mine.
The funniest thing about his video on that, because we looked into that a little bit for the background on this video, is that so he went and asked people about it, and some of the people, to your point, were like, oh yeah, he seemed like a really nice guy or whatever. And then the one cop who they didn't show his face, which was probably a smart move, was like, yeah, growing up here, I didn't really get it. But, from a libertarian mindset, I started to understand it when I grew up.
Libertarian cop was a little
Based,
funny.
Yeah. For the people that don't know, what was the catalyst of this guy deciding to be like, hey, God got a mission for me?
Sure, thank you. Yeah, that is so much more complicated of a question than anybody seems to realize. And like most of the videos I've seen, because most of the coverage I was looking at, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, there was a sewage dispute, so he bulldozed buildings." The worst ones were like, yeah, he kept dumping raw sewage into irrigation ditches and wouldn't pay any fines and wouldn't fix his septic tank. So they fined him and then he destroyed the town. And it's like, no.
Yeah, they tried to paint him as a bad. Those are the weird ones where they're just trying to paint him. They're like, he's a bad dude. He was didn't want to pay fines. You're like,
Short version. He buys the property in 1992 at an auction. He's not from Granby. He's not even from Colorado. He's from South Dakota. He moved to Boulder after he got out of the Air Force. Moved up to Grand Lake, and he had a buddy in town in Boulder or maybe Denver, who was like, I wanted to buy some property up there. And so Marv says, I'll look around. He finds this spot. It's an old concrete plant, foreclosure auction. Signs up for it, goes to the auction. He's agreed with his partner. They're willing to pay $66,000 for it. Auction gets up to $50K when you're including, thank you. Auction comes up to $50K when you're including the, the fees and everything.
Yeah.
He gets it, and this Cody Dochev guy, according to him, walks over and just reads him the riot act about it. And he's like, I was gonna buy that property, you need to sell it to me. It had been Cody's property back in the 80s. He had bought it in 72, and it was taken by the banks during the savings and loan crisis. Cody also made some bad business decisions that led to him losing the concrete plant and a whole bunch of people in town losing their jobs. This is all just brushed over in tread.
Wasn't Boulder, not Boulder, Granby was like a good old boy society.
Yeah.
Where it's like if you weren't in the in crowd, like they would just fuck you over.
Oh yeah, there were families there who had been there like a long time.
Yeah.
So when you, sorry, I'm like losing my train of thought a little bit. So
welcome to Unsub.
92, he buys the property, and he won't sell it to Cody Dochev because Cody Dochev won't offer him more than $50,000, and he had agreed to sell it for $66,000 after buying it, so he was going to make a $16,000 profit.
Right.
He was happy about this. He said he'd sell it to Dochev for the $66,000. Dochev wouldn't buy it, and this Gus Harris guy, who was going to help him buy the property, wouldn't give him any more money than that. Gus Harris, of course, owned the property directly south of Marv Heemeyer and would not give him a maintenance easement, which Marv needed because Bud Wilson, the superintendent of the sanitation department, had come down and said, hey, buddy, why don't you join the sewer district? Nice and modernized. It's easier. You don't have to pay to have your septic tank emptied. It'll be great. They're like, sure, yeah. Marv said, sure, is there anything I have to do? Do I need an attorney? And they're like, no, we'll fill out all the paperwork for you, and you just have to pay a small fee to get yourself connected, and then you're good to go. And Marv's like, oh, cool, yeah, why not? He wants to ingratiate himself into Granby. In his tapes, he constantly talks about how his goal was to not step on any toes because he already knew that he was, maybe on a little bit of a bad foot.
The irony.
Yeah, well, he constantly talks about how he wanted to be a good guy or tried to be a good guy.
he would do like again, you cannot reiterate how he would just help people. That is the biggest takeaway from your video at the beginning is how much he would just help people, even with the snowmobiles and building the ramrod thing. It's just like, I can drive through trees with my snowmobile.
He would just modify people's snowmobiles. He would add bumpers to them.
Count Dankula and the business. We call this foreshadowing.
Exactly. But yeah, so he tries his best, but he needs, he tries to get onto the sewer district, and he goes to the meeting, and they're like, oh, you need a maintenance easement from this guy Gus Harris to your south. And he goes, well, I was told all of the paperwork would be done for me. And they're like, well, I guess it wasn't. Now, here's the problem. Gus Harris is going to refuse to give him a maintenance easement over and over again. But part of the problem is that there's no actual coverage of what was said at the meeting. It's just he said, she said.
Of course.
Yeah, exactly. So whatever happened,
didn't the minutes for the meeting disappear? There was supposed to be minutes taken.
Somebody claimed he accidentally asked for the October ones, not the September ones, and he needed the September. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to look into that one right yet. My guess would be that they gave him the October ones.
40 hours. Sounds like you do no research at all.
Sorry.
You're jerking off for 38 hours and watch trash.
I can watch 37 of them.
I was helping it for half.
Which
part? What do you think?
Okay.
The good part.
Yeah. So he's told he needs to get the easement. For some reason, he can't get the easement. He seems to say that the town won't help him get the easement. Ghost Sarahs won't give him the easement. The other option they give him is you can pay $80,000 to have a lift installed to connect yourself to the sewer main like 800 feet to your north.
So more than he was going to sell the property for.
Yes, exactly. And the clear goal was to make him go and sell the property to Cody Dochev. And they did a good job. There's no paper trail here. You cannot say that any of this is factual. You can only say it seems like this is what was going on. Because what happens is they try to, they put him in this position and he just refuses to fix it. And, they're like, what's going on here? But they can't do anything because technically he has not violated any ordinance yet. Because when he bought the property, he was grandfathered into the old system. He would only need to build a sewer extension if he built more on the property.
And remind me again, and for everybody else who's watching, how long was that system that Cody had when he owned it in operation with no problem?
Well, he had bought the property in 1972 and he lost it in 1986.
Yeah.
Zero issues.
Yep.
Zero issues. It's one of those things that you're like, okay, maybe there's no concrete evidence, but this is a lot of circumstantial evidence.
Yep.
Small town governments are like this much higher than HOAs.
Yeah.
It's bad.
There's like 6 people, and they all own the companies that run that small town.
Right.
And if you cross them, you're fucked.
It's that typical shit, and you see it all the time in local politics where it's like, oh, that's crazy. You need a permit approved for an apartment complex? It would be really cool if you use rock from my quarry.
Yeah, exactly.
Like little shit like that.
You have to use rock from my quarry.
That's what I was going to say, is these guys who are on the town board, they own the excavation company in town. They own the concrete in town. They own the propane in town. They own everything that's going to go into putting that sewer line in.
Yeah.
So they're the ones who are going to get the job when he has to do it. So they're either going to make money off of him from him putting the sewer line in, or they're going to force him out of town and their buddy Cody Dochev can get the land back. Now, they do not bug him about it for 6 years, because that's about how long it takes Cody to build up the money to try and restart his business. Because he's been renting land from the Thompson family up north of town, making his concrete. Marv said that it was some of the worst concrete he'd ever used, by the way, which I thought was really funny. Like Marv,
is actually hilarious.
In the tapes, Marv is so sassy. It's incredible.
Wait. This was not in the video, and I'm curious now. Did he use Cody's concrete in the Killdozer or someone else's?
Ooh.
That's an
I
excellent
don't
question.
know.
If he's bitching about the concrete, that makes the most sense.
I mean, how poetic justice would that be?
He's like, I've been building a tank essentially to destroy his business, and his concrete fucking sucks.
Exactly.
I don't know if this is gonna stop.
That's the best part, though. In the middle of everything, he's
30%.
like, yeah, I mean, this guy, he went bankrupt a few years ago, tried to kill himself. Everybody hates him. But yeah, this bitch, like...
Just like you said, sassy. He's like, I'm tired of this. This concrete sucks. At least I'm using his Killdozer. Sassy is such a weird word
Yeah,
for a dude
I
that
understand where
uses
you're
a Killdozer.
He always sounds so like nonchalant in the tapes too. When I was listening to him, because he'd be like, it's like, and he's like, March 11th, 2004. So yeah, I finished the welds on the armor. They're looking pretty good, I guess. It's like, this man's been spending months building a machine to destroy, and he's like,
You know what that's called?
It's all right.
Autism.
Do you know? That was one of the very first things. I'm not even kidding. One of the very first things I said to him while I was researching, one of the very first phone calls like that, I'm like, oh, this dude was fucking autistic, man.
Because they also, like, autistic people generally, by and large, have that innate, like, sense of fairness.
Yeah.
And
It's if this isn't fair, and that bothers me to a core.
he was
and I'm gonna do
famously bad at talking to women too.
I didn't say it in the video because I didn't want to come across as like unintentionally offensive, but no, the man was
that's genuinely
autistic as hell.
Yeah.
Like, this is a guy who, I'm not sure what he did in the military, but I don't think they taught him how to do that.
No.
So, like, he clearly taught himself how to do some impressive engineering shit.
Especially when you realize he had like cameras wired to TVs
With like
and shit on the
wiper blades
inside, like-
on the cameras.
And this is before YouTube time. There wasn't just readily information. He's reading books
build
and
that?
learning this shit.
What is
This man's got modifying a bulldozer for dummies out. Just
what is YouTube's monetization policy on an instructional video on how to make a Killdozer?
Do you want to find out?
I kind of do.
I'm not gonna lie.
We'll ask Whistling Diesel in like 6 months.
I'm not gonna lie. Part of the reason that I didn't go through the exact modifications was because I didn't want to risk it.
Part one.
I was like, I don't want to get like through this video and have it do 50,000 views and then stop because YouTube's like, you can't tell people how to build a tank. Man.
I got in trouble for that.
You know what you should do? You should contact Whistling Diesel and see if you can set up a test shooting the AK-50 at it.
So what I wanted to do, because I've had this idea for a little while, and what we wanted to do, because when I first heard about the armor, right? Because it was something fucking stupid. It's like 1/2-inch steel plate with 2 inches of concrete with another 1/2 inch of steel plate behind it. Some shit.
I thought it was 6 inches.
Was
It
it?
was 3 inches of concrete. Yeah,
Okay.
it was 3.
It was something along those lines. But all I remember
Some say
thinking
it's
was
enough.
like, some say
It's a
too
lot
much.
of concrete, man.
3 inches can be too much
It can
sometimes.
hurt.
For a
But the,
small government, it goes a long way.
The
Small government, big concrete. What can I say?
I'm thinking like, dude, I don't know if there's anything I own that could touch that. Like, I mean, I even have like a 14.5 millimeter PTRS 41. I'm like, bro, I'm not 100% confident that'll punch it. Like, what the fuck are these small town cops gonna do?
Well, that's the thing is like, I'm not
Especially
sure what
that time period.
What are you gonna use? Like an AT4? Like,
And even then, 18.4 probably not doing too much.
if you hit the treads, it might stop it.
The
that-
governor
yeah.
was about to call in the fucking National Guard or Air Guard.
Yeah, so that's interesting. I looked into that. Apparently, that one's a bit dubious whether or not that's true. It's kind of like there's no record of it happening, but a whole bunch of people who were involved say that they were considering a Javelin missile and an Apache helicopter.
Well, I remember
My
at the time
God.
when it was on TV.
I don't.
What year was this?
2005.
I was 6.
Oh my God, you're a baby.
2004, yeah.
God, I
Oh,
wish
it's
it happened
4.
a decade later. We had sweet YouTube videos leading up to the fucking launch of it.
Yeah.
But hey, Marv Dochek here. Could
you imagine-
uncovers his camera.
Could you imagine getting the news of Killdozer 2 months after ISIS took Baghdad?
Well, no, they were broadcasting it like on par with like 9/11 when it was happening. Because I remember I was in like middle school, I think. Me and Eli, the old man at the table. But yeah, they were like, I
was in
remember
war when this was going on.
he was busy at the time.
The same bulldozers hit another building.
there's a second bulldozer. That's what I was thinking. That should have been the opening of Whistling Diesel's videos. Sir, a second bulldozer has hit Granby.
He's like reading a children's book.
Also, that joke has come up so much with my friends lately playing Helldivers. I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys have played it at all, but just anytime one of the factory striders will get a second one, we're like, sir, a second factory strider has hit the battlefield. Just every time.
It's one of those jokes that's resurfaced.
Yeah.
Only took 23 years.
Hey, Eli! What you doing? You're just filing taxes. Well, that's not what my taxes look like, but either way, I'm here to talk to you about EXPRESSVPN. Why are you here? Oh, I see you're using incognito mode. Did you know incognito mode won't hide what kind of taxes you're filing? What do you mean? It doesn't matter what mode you use or how many times you clear your browsing history. Your internet service provider can still see every website you've ever visited. Do you want people to know these are the kinds of taxes you're filing, Eli?
Wait, are you in my house?
What makes you ask that? Gesundheit. It doesn't matter if you get your internet through Verizon or AT&T or your local internet service provider. In the US, internet service providers can legally sell your information to ad companies.
Leave me alone!
Were the taxes I sent you not good enough for you, Eli?
I don't want to see your taxes.
Just visit the link at expressvpn.com/unsub and you could get 3 months free on a 1-year package.
That's EXPRESSVPN.com/unsub.
Protect your online activity today with the VPN rated #1 by CNET and Mashable. That's expressvpn.com/unsub to learn more.
Yeah, we're considering doing a video for 9/11.
Oh god, yeah, this came up on Sunday.
On Tower 7.
I was just about to make the joke. He's driving the Killdozer through Granby, Colorado, since we were comparing it to 9/11, and just a building collapses. In the back.
Senior center collapses.
Just crazy. He wasn't even over there.
How much missing government money was in that building?
How much was it insured for?
Killdozer was an inside job.
They bought bulldozer insurance 2 weeks before this happened. That's crazy.
That only makes sense if something happened and he fucked up and the bulldozer didn't start that day, and then randomly throughout the day the building collapses anyway.
Haven't you noticed that Marv and Bush have the same number of letters?
Oh my god.
Coincidence?
Oh, speaking of that joke, I was actually just noticing that, of course, Nick has the daddy bush, the tall boy.
Big boy bush. That was cooking in the backseat of my truck for like 3 days.
Fine. Tastes great.
Cold now.
It's cold again.
Look, I don't know if you guys know this, but double mag pouches hold tall boys perfectly.
Get a chest rig.
That was an interesting conversation at annual training one year when I was on a ruck march.
Gotta be. I'm picturing Black Hawk Down. I'm like, Nick Magazine. You're like,
I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Can't
Bush
run.
Live?
So, serious question.
Fucking, that was weird.
Hypothetically,
The second he starts, I was waiting for him to stop. I'm like, Ramirez.
if a group of dipshits raised a bunch of money and we're going to give it to you guys, would you want to remake the Tread documentary, like actually go to Granby and interview people?
Oh, hell yeah.
if we
Oh,
paid,
interesting.
Dude, if we could, we would do it in a heartbeat.
if we paid you
Yeah.
for Pepper Box,
That's so
Dude,
fucking
yeah.
crazy.
Box?
Yes.
Wow.
100%. 100%. We would go.
yeah, that's what.
Hey, Cody's alive.
Hey, Cody's alive.
He is alive.
Dude,
Are you alive enough to talk about lacrosse at some point?
Oh, we're going to talk about fucking lacrosse.
Lacrosse, Wisconsin.
I thought you just were like into sports.
that same.
No, lacrosse was because this was like begged for, and I didn't. It's a bit of a hard subject shift. I'm sorry. I don't mean to like direct the show. Just like I just want to know because no lacrosse. We did a video on this. Do you know the Smiley Face Killers thing?
Yes,
You ever heard of
I've
that?
heard of it. I can't remember exactly
it's a
what it
really
was.
like that is so fun. First off, where'd that serial killer's name come from?
It was Kevin Gannon and Anthony Duarte. They are former New York City police detectives. And what they noticed was that there were all these young men, college-age men mostly, showing up dead in rivers. And they were always ruled to be accidental drownings as a result of alcohol intoxication or with association with alcohol intoxication. And they identified
One
a number
survived.
of these. Yeah, they identified a number of these, and they're like, I don't know. I don't know if these are accidents. Now, I personally, after looking at, I think we've looked at what, half a dozen of these
Roughly.
cases and clusters. I don't think that there's a broad connection nationwide. But when we were looking at the Lacrosse, Wisconsin cases, it's like every single one of the people who, one of them survived. Every single one of these men, well, they picked 10, I picked 5. Every single one of the 5 that I picked was same general age bracket, same intelligence. They were all, college educated. They were all athletic. They were, basically guys who, for the most part, you might consider to be like your typical like attractive male at that age.
and most importantly, can swim.
And they're like college dudes. They drink, and when you're saying
Yep.
like that one dude that's a 0.16, which we all function at a 0.16 any day of the fucking week. Yeah, that's just,
As Trout called
a
it
good
yesterday,
time.
a good bowling buzz.
But yeah, so what happens with each of these guys is, sometimes like Lady Bird Lake right now is kind of, surprisingly not as big as we thought it was when we were talking about it for our channel. But Lady Bird Lake, they've had all these bodies show up in the river, right? And, they're different races, different sexes, different ages, probably not connected. These guys were all within the 20 to 25 age bracket, I think. They were all but one were single. They were all around the same height, all white, all had similar haircuts. And most importantly, all of them were drinking on the same strip of bars on 3rd Street the night they disappeared. And then 6 guys around our age turn up in the water. 5 of them didn't make it. They just, float up to the surface and they're found. And it turns out they were drinking on this one street. One of them survived. He went in the water in January of, I think it was 2006.
This is what's crazy about this story is this dude survived, and it's like, oh, I was drinking at 2 a.m.
Yeah, so he's basically, the way that it broke down is the last thing he remembered, I think, was 1:15 a.m., maybe 1:45 a.m., something around there.
Yeah, it was, the bars were still technically
Yeah,
open
the
at
bars
that
were
point,
still
but he
open.
wasn't there.
He remembered dancing at a bar on 3rd Street, I think it was John's Bar, and then the next thing he knew, he was swimming in the Mississippi, miles down the river.
So someone's roofing these men and
know
then
about the
throwing
second
them
part.
in the fucking river.
The first and last part, it seems like it. The second part doesn't seem to be, as far as anybody can tell, happening.
And that's the weird thing, because a couple of the towns that we've covered with this, it's like, okay, well, some of these, it just seems like guys are getting pissed and then going to piss in the river and they don't come back.
Yeah.
Some of them, it's like, no, there's something clearly weird going on here, but they're not quite connected. And then La Crosse is this weird outlier where it's like, no, there is a profile here, someone is following that, and someone was doing it for a set period of time.
About 8 years. Just, it goes from 1998 to 2006, and then it stops.
Jesus.
Which is great. And then they were finding like GB.
Yeah, so that was the thing. Well, that's the thing, is that they were testing, and I think one of them tested positive for GHB, but the rest didn't.
But
But there was no assault.
No,
they
not
were
that they
just
could tell.
getting roofied and someone was throwing them in the fucking water.
Which is why, part of the reason why I looked at it and I went, I think that the culprit here is a woman.
Well, there's the one specific piece of evidence that...
And one of the guys, Luke Homan, when they found him, he had a weird pattern of bruising on his forehead that looked like a rather narrow toe line. Not like a cowboy boot, like a woman's boot.
High heel.
Not even like a high heel.
Not like the toe of the high heel. Like you're pointing.
Yeah, either
your
a toe of a
heels.
high heel or but definitely a woman's shoe. Is kind of what it looks like.
Killed by cross-dressers.
This explains.
We found him.
This explains
Okay,
the lack of
so
sexual assault.
you think like with the FBI profile, like someone was roofing them and then stomping on their heads and throwing them in the water.
I don't know about all of them with the stomping on the heads,
at least
but
one.
at least the one. What it seemed like, what we were tracking was these are all men who are, conventionally attractive, both in terms of their looks and their background.
Well, that makes sense for it to be a woman.
Exactly. And they all go missing from the same strip of bars. None of them tell their friends they're even leaving. So it's like, that's the part that caught me first. I was like, the only reason that I would not tell my friends I'm leaving the bar in college would have been if I had met a girl.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, I'm saying, hey guys, I'm leaving, I'm going to this bar.
Yeah, you Irish goodbye with some girl. Yeah.
Exactly. Otherwise, I'm telling you, I'm going here, I'm going there. None of these guys told their friends they were leaving the bar.
I find that also kind of weird too, because you would have thought at that point at least one of them would have been like, and like they would have at least have somebody to go off of.
True.
But yeah, and you look at it, and
Unless she wasn't attractive, in which case that makes perfect sense.
so what I think.
That's probably.
How deep?
My buddy
How deep
Dylan.
was that female
Hey, Dylan.
foot imprint?
Good God. I found
Narrow toe line, fat shoe.
Very.
I found a study on GHB and how fast it exits the body, and it turns out that within 3 hours, it's usually present. It's almost always present. 3 to 6 hours, I think it was 12.5% of people.
Yeah, it was like, I think it got to the point where within that window,
Yeah,
it was like
it was-
80% of people,
Yeah, it was-
generally was out of their
No,
system.
it was 80% of people was in. Yeah,
Right,
it was,
right,
so after 3 to 6 hours,
sorry, I'm
it's-
6 to
you're
12,
fine.
my bad.
Yeah, 3 to 6 hours, it was 12.5% of people. So 1 in 8 people will have cleared GHB from their system within 6 hours, possibly within 3 hours.
That's crazy.
Yeah. You get into the 6 to 12 hour range, 86.5% of people have cleared all of the GHB out of their system with the the standard dose of GHB. So with most of the cases, it's a little hard to tell. With specifically, because there's no like known endogenous GHB level, you produce it internally, like naturally. There's no predetermined level. With Cullen Fortney, the survivor, they tested him for GHB, but as far as everything broke down, he disappeared at 1:15, went into the water within the hour based on, like when he disappeared, and then he got out of the water around 7 a.m. He has to have gone into the water
shit.
January. Keep in mind, January in Wisconsin. He has to.
It's fucking 20 degrees.
He got out of the water at 6:30 a.m., walked into a hospital at 7 a.m. He cannot have gone into that water anytime before 6 a.m. and survived.
Because you said how long it takes for in that
15
water. It's
minutes.
Like 15 minutes. Hypothermia, you're dead. Like
You said
shock,
he went.
close down.
But you said he went into the water an hour after.
That's what the
Allegedly?
police seem to think.
Well, that's the thing is like, so I've been in lake water in Pennsylvania in December.
Your body locks up.
Well, that's the thing. I was wearing a wetsuit because I was acting in a short film that I was doing, and I had a wetsuit on under my clothes. I was in the water for maybe 60 to 90 seconds. I got out after the take to go into the yurt that we had there. I couldn't unbutton my shirt because my hands were physically so cold they didn't have enough grip strength to get the button off. It's like, and that was with a wetsuit on.
Yeah.
So I don't even understand how, with 15 minutes in the water.
Yeah, basically what has to have happened, he cannot have gone into that water before, I think it was 6 a.m., and he cannot have survived. If he had just gotten out of the water and laid there and passed out for several hours, he wouldn't have survived that either, because he wouldn't have dried. It would have been too cold. He would have frozen to death. So he cannot have gone into that water anytime after 6 a.m., and yet the police are like, oh no, yeah, he probably just went into the water sometime after leaving the bar, went to take a piss, fell in, passed out on the rocks, woke up with the sun, and walked into the hospital.
No, he got drugged, and someone held him captive for a couple hours.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, and then he took him down to the water and fucking threw him in.
Broken belt loops.
Yeah, that was on Luke Homan. He had broken belt loops, for no reason.
Legitimate question. The substance GHB? GHB. Does it cause ED?
I don't think it does.
Well, what it does I think we have our answer.
What it does cause is the exact same behaviors and feelings as being drunk. So anybody who's on GHB will just appear to be drunk.
To an extent.
Maybe really drunk.
Yeah.
It's like shit wrecked. It's like Kevin Burdenham.
But sometimes if you got too much of it or you drink too much while on it, you're going to end up in a position where maybe you're irritable. Nobody's going to be able to tell that you've been drugged. And one of the things that it does is, on the off chance somebody does survive, you don't get your memory back from that time.
Yeah.
It makes you black out.
And he woke up in the water?
He woke up in the water.
Imagine that, dude. That is a fucking night when you're just like, oh man, I just want to dance tonight. This bitch is hot. You're like, shit! What the happened? Now you're swimming in cold ass water and you're like, I'm dying. I'm going to run to the emergency room.
Yeah.
Thankfully, which was
Gunderson Lutheran Medical Center, yeah.
Fucking insane.
Your memory is incredible for the record.
Dude, I love it. That's his tism.
It is.
This is my new biggest fear.
This is why I have a history degree.
No, the only reason our channel is as successful as it is.
No, we always joke about the famous Reddit creepypasta about the lamp. The lamp that was flat. We always joke about that being us in real life ever since blowing up on YouTube and this whole job and our whole lives.
You think YouTube and podcasting is a job?
We're all gonna wake up in the middle of the Mississippi River trying to swim. This is my new fear. It's not the lamp anymore.
Yeah. Oh god.
Moment, and then I wake up in the Mississippi. I was like, oh no.
Oh shit! Wait, I am cold. Oh no.
I'm north of the Mason-Dixon. How did this happen?
I'm going to wake up at age 16 next to Bryson's parents' car after hitting my head on the tire playing Manhunt.
No, God.
I did say this morning, I said if I could go back to being 16, knowing everything I know now, I'd be tempted to take it.
Oh, I would absolutely do it.
Invest in Bitcoin. Invest in Bitcoin.
What's that?
I said, what was the Count Dankula quote about foreshadowing?
On the business. We call this foreshadowing. Oh, I do that any day of the week. Fuck, yeah.
So, he just this entire and it was the smiley face killer.
Yeah.
But, and then it stopped in 2006, 2004.
2006.
And then
Luke Homan, I believe, is the last one I identified as having a similar profile to the rest of them.
Run through why you picked the 5 and not the 10.
Sure. So there were 10 people originally that I looked at, and 5 of them, one was 5'6" and pretty overweight. The rest of them were 5'8" to 6'2" and athletic. So didn't really fit the profile.
Imagine being discarded and told you're not a victim because you're fat.
Yeah.
I didn't say it like that.
Here we go.
I didn't say it like that.
That's dope.
To be fair.
You just play Tinder. You're like, not fucking him. These ones though.
Yeah, you literally you looked through the 10. We're like, I these 5.
You swiped right and on one you were like, eh. And then you were at 5'8" and you're like, eh.
Oh,
This is not how murder kill is supposed to be played.
You've been watching too much Criminal Minds.
Murder, kill. What game did you play?
Have you ever heard of that game?
Mary, kill.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
Mick plays a different version. Murder.
Oh, no.
Kill sounds like a metal band.
Murder kills a hardcore metal band.
I've been drinking in the sun, okay?
Were you by chance in
That's their
lacrosse?
first single.
I've been drinking in the sun and simulating shooting people in the head all day. This is having an off day.
Fucking lacrosse, dude.
But yeah, I want to
let's
know.
go to
'cause,
this.
like, what's your deal with lacrosse?
So a lot of my content that I make on my channel, which of course is another metal band name, Murder Content, comes out of La Crosse, Wisconsin.
I've heard.
It's like the PvP server of America. It's seriously a GTA 5 server. Like, it's fucking wild how much content I get out of there, dude.
Noah the T-Rex.
Yeah, Noah the T-Rex. Like, there's just so much meth and no fathers in La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Oh my god.
Like, I get so many videos out of that one goddamn city.
Who's
It's
Noah
wild.
the T-Rex?
You never seen Noah the T-Rex?
Wait, is it Noah the kid that always gets arrested?
Yeah, that always gets arrested and screams. I've made like 6
I know
videos
which one
on
you're
this,
talking about now.
this little piece of shit.
Has anybody here ever been drinking
no.
it in the state of Wisconsin?
No.
We should go.
We should all go to lacrosse.
No,
We
I
should
mean,
go
not
to
even
La
lacrosse.
Crosse.
Just literally anywhere in Wisconsin is so much fun to drink.
We need to do a survival video in lacrosse.
Oh,
do
we die.
24 hours in lacrosse.
No,
If I see Noah, I'm gonna beat the shit out of this kid. I'm be like, oh, you never had a dad before. You're about to fucking learn. I'm gonna take my belt off and everything, dude.
Wisconsin has these crazy laws where you can just open up a bar like in your garage or in your basement.
Oh.
So there's like, you'll drive through small towns and it'll be like bar, and it's just like some dude's house, and in his garage he has a bar, and you can just like go drink with random people like at their house bar. It's cool as shit.
This is explaining a lot of your
I love
It's
this.
awesome.
The
I'm
gang
also
moves to
realizing-
Wisconsin.
This is potentially why there's 5 missing people.
And also potentially why you have so much lacrosse content.
Oh, they had like 5-cent beer night the night Luke Homan went missing.
I remember.
They're the best.
Hey,
It's the
that
Midwest,
was a
Tommy.
thing in Indiana too.
Well,
we
that's
had
the thing.
dime. It was Tuesday nights was dime night at the Cactus, Neon Cactus. It was a dime for a liter of beer.
Yeah,
Or the $2 mug nights or whatever the fuck.
This is a dime.
Well, yeah. Well, this was also
back
what?
in the day.
Back when you could buy a soda pop for 20 cents.
Dude, in State College when I was a junior, you could go to 13-cent beer night at Champs.
That's terrifying.
Dude, I still have the receipt. When I went to SEAL school, there was a place that would have 50-cent beer night. And me and like 4 other guys went in there, and I have the receipt. It says we drank 140 beers.
The only time, like in a military
Have you seen the one
time, I
from
would
like
not.
the Revolution celebration? It was like the Declaration of
Oh, it's
Independence
so
after
good.
party.
No, what?
Yes, I did. It's like a handwritten receipt of what they drank.
It's like
Wait, hold
55
on.
bowls of
Oh.
punch, 12 barrels of ale,
Yeah,
This
like
be
This
five
is a
combo.
Nicholas bit.
5 bottles of brandy, 6 bottles of whiskey.
Dude, let me pull it up.
Yes.
While
this
Nick's
was,
not
wait,
here.
this was the party for the Declaration of Independence.
I think it was the Declaration or like when they won the Revolution. I can't remember the
This is
exact
the
reasoning.
one party I'd want to be at. That's the fucking party I'd want to be at. If I could any party
Okay,
in
so
history.
it was fact checked by USA Today as true.
Incredible. When you
Fucking
start
amazing.
looking
Oh,
at
I've
all
got
of
it.
the receipts of that time, you start to understand why they thought they could beat the British Empire.
Oh, yeah.
And they did.
Oh, this was afterward.
This is after
This
that.
is in 1787.
Oh, so it must have been the Constitution.
Yeah, so this was directly after the revolution.
So this was signing
Yeah.
the Constitution.
It would have been Constitution, I think, because that's 1787. Bill of Rights is 93, I think. 92 maybe.
God, your autism is awesome, dog. You fit right in here. This
We're
is
gonna bring it
autism.
Yeah, it's ratified in
Am I weird?
1788, operations in 1789.
We have to read this when Nick is here because Nick's going to be in heaven with this.
Yeah.
Well,
That
I
was,
honestly
yeah, I
forgot
remember.
how
I think
much-
it was
Jesus Christ.
somebody had said that they wanted to make sure he was here when we were here.
Oh,
For the history
100%. That's
stuff.
why we moved it because I was like, hey, tell them they're flying in this day. I told Joe. She was like, they fly in here. I was like, move them. Nick is here.
Yeah, I didn't know. I was like, yeah, I'm down. Like, move us around all you need.
Was it fucking Andre the Giant that used to just
110
demolish
beers in a
everything?
single,
Yeah.
120 beers in a single night in Japan. And then instead of moving him into a room, they covered him like a piano and slept him in the hallway.
That's
So
incredible.
they like moved a bunch of couches in the lobby around him and just put a blanket over him, I think.
Yeah, homeboy apparently like drank like and he would just stay drunk the entire time because it's giant, like the pain he would go through. But he loved fucking boozing it up. And then if you were wrestling with him, he would wrestle drunk, and it was depending if you were his friend or not, is if he's going to hurt you in the ring.
Was he a WWE or an actual wrestler?
WWF, WCW,
whatever the thing was called back then.
Yeah.
But imagine though, to be fair to him, if every fucking
WCW.
fifth of whiskey looked
Yeah.
like an airplane bottle.
Yeah, exactly. Like a guy that size.
Did you see his hand holding a beer? It's
Yeah.
the most,
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Oh,
His
God.
hand
so
holding a
weird.
regular beer.
I haven't seen the picture.
He
no.
might be able to hold you in one hand.
I would not be shocked. It's pretty easy to do.
This dude, he walked around at like 450 pounds. Like he's just a massive human. And then look, this is a beer can in his hand.
Oh my God.
He was a big dude.
And he holds the record for 120 beers in a single night, and it was all documented.
Would the pretty lady like a peanut?
The pretty lady like peanut.
That was too good.
Yeah, that was impressive.
I need to see a compilation of you just recreating the entirety of The Princess Bride. Yeah.
Such a good movie.
Oh my God, I want to go back and watch The Princess Bride now.
I watched it for the first time in I think 2021 after I got
What the
dumped.
fuck, man?
I mean, it's been
Nobody
That was
had
your
showed me
first
the movie
time
before.
watching it?
I think my dad might
probably
have
wasn't
tried
far
when I
off.
was a small child.
What I hated was on what was the show we just watched? God damn it! I've been like, it's really good.
Real quick, this is what my dad just texted me.
Love Island.
And he has
Yes.
he has no idea that we're talking about this. He just texted me the back of a dude's truck, which has two stickers. One says, "I'd rather be secretly modifying a bulldozer for a year and a half in Granby." And the second one is, "My other ride is an ATF agent's wife."
That's the guy from
Oh, I like that second one.
That's all time.
we talked about it on the fucking show. It was from Band of Brothers, the captain.
Oh, yeah.
And then he
Shit.
was in the other show where he was a traitor to America.
Oh,
Homeland.
we were just talking about that.
Homeland, the main CIA
the
guy.
redheaded guy.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
not him. The old man in the CIA. That's the
Oh,
other main
the
character.
Jewish dude.
The guy who
Saul.
played Ross?
So Saul is fucking. Saul is the you killed my father, prepare to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not know that for 6 seasons. I was like, get the fuck. Sav's like, did you know that's the guy from Princess Bride? I was like,
So,
which one?
Nick, what
Manny
we were
Patinkin,
discussing is the bar tab of
He's
the...
also Gideon in Criminal Minds.
Oh
Yeah.
fuck! I didn't even.
We
know
were
that.
discussing
Oh,
without you
shit,
the
yeah, yeah.
official bar
Fuck.
tab of the 1787 farewell party for George Washington.
That's what
I've
it
read
was.
Dude,
Yeah.
this party. This is the one, Nick.
The
Yeah,
one-
it was for like not a lot of dudes.
This
too.
is the,
Not
it
a
was
lot
for
of
like a
dudes.
couple of guys.
This would have been
According
a
to the
Crosse,
bill.
Wisconsin party.
according to the bill, the founding fathers drank 54 bottles of Madeira, 60 of Claret, 22 of porter, 8 of hard cider, 12 of beer, and 7 bowls of alcoholic punch. The party had 55 attendees.
Yep.
Bro, they
This is
went
why I love America.
hard for
The Marine
sending
Corps
out-
was founded in a fucking bar. So I mean, what do you expect?
I've got a shirt that just has the coiled snake. It's the Gadsden flag snake. It just says the revolution was started in a bar.
I mean, everything was psychotic about the beginning. Like John Paul Jones starting the Navy and just
Oh, boy, here we go.
everything he did there was hilarious.
America's fucking freedom pirate. Yeah.
Favorite
Hold on,
story
wait,
about him as
what?
a therapist.
Oh, yeah. Let him take this one.
This is where some of my tism starts to shine.
You and Nick are gonna get along great for
So-
U.S. military.
Any of you guys
history.
like trains?
Yeah. It's that bad.
Yeah.
You
Anyway.
have no idea.
Go on.
So John Paul Jones was the founder of the United States Navy, and I'll skip most of the backstory, but essentially it's to the point where we needed a Navy. He was a Scottish psycho, and he had killed someone in the Bahamas, fled, and then eventually was like, let me go kill people, George Washington, and he was like, sure. So he took a ship, actually, I think it was 3
Big
ships.
Pat McAfee. Not Pat McAfee. Jesus Christ, wrong.
John McAfee? Yeah.
Yeah, not the sports guy, the fucking psycho.
You know what? I'd also see Pat McAfee doing this.
Anyway, he took a little small group of ships over to England and went port to port and just demolished them to the point where everybody like in that area of Europe knew of his name and like knew he meant business. So he named his ship the Bonhomme Richard after Benjamin Franklin's book, Poor Richard's Almanac, just as a little tilt of the hat.
Bonhomme meaning, I think it's,
Bonjour, motherfucker.
I think bonhomme is like good man or something like that.
Probably. Anyway, so he gets to the point where they're out on the open sea and they meet this ship
So
called...
his ship's name is Good Dick.
Basically, yeah.
Time out. I'm going to interject.
Go for it.
Him raiding the UK or Britain was like a way bigger deal than just like that was like the first time that Britain had been raided
ever
by ships since fucking Vikings. It was like hundreds of years they were like the world power, and this dude shows up. Like their whole thing was like, we have a lot of boats. Like ask Napoleon, he knows. Like it was Britain's whole shtick, and he just rolls up and f***s up all their shit. It was awesome. Sorry, continue.
No.
But you left out the best part, which is
there.
okay.
Yeah. So they meet this ship called the Serapis out at sea, and it's like minimum twice the size of the Bonhomme Richard. And
The Bond.
yeah, basically. And so
Bondi.
It's Good Dick. Good Dick the boat.
I think it's Bonhomme Richard too.
And so
Probably.
the Serapis is like, essentially the captain's pleading is like, you can end this now because you're going to get screwed. And no response. I can't remember if it was no response or what they said initially, but they unload one broadside into the Bonhomme Richard and it takes them out almost completely. There's 3 guns left. And then the captain of the Serapis is like, are you done yet, basically? And John Paul Jones just like gets up on the side and he's like, I've not yet begun to fight.
Just, I didn't hear no bell.
I thought
And you
this
can
was
imagine
America.
Because, by the way, he was like 5'5".
Oh yeah, he was my height.
This guy gets up there and he's like, I've not yet begun to fight.
And wait. The best part, with 3 guns on his ship left, he proceeds to take the Serapis as his ship sinks. Problem is, so you know how you have to have your like car have a license plate, and you like if you have boats, you have registration numbers on them, things like that. At that time, there were flags that flew off the back, and they were from whatever port you came from. They signified whatever country you were from. So the problem is that his ship just sank. Serapis is not in good shape, so he sails to, I think it was a
Netherlands.
Dutch port. Yeah.
I think it was Amsterdam.
And-
Amsterdam or Rotterdam.
Yeah, and he shows up and he docks and essentially is like, what are you going to do about it? Because he didn't have a flag. And that was punishable by death, if I'm correct. And the Dutch are like, we make you a new flag.
No. What happened was he got there and they were like, you need a flag. And he said, well, they basically asked him what port he was from, what country he was from. And he said the United States of America.
Yeah.
And like, they were like, you what?
Yeah.
You know,
I love how you're making him like the traitor from Frozen, like big summer blood.
Exactly. But yeah, so you continue.
Well, and so the flag that they designed was basically a bastardized version.
They asked him what the flag looked like. He said he didn't know.
Because nobody was really sure yet. Betsy Ross was still sewing in her little shack.
Holy shit! So this dude just from his image, he's like,
No, he had a letter from Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah. It was a description from Ben Franklin.
So there's some straps in a star.
Literally
13 stars.
Literally,
You looking it up?
I'm going to show it to you guys.
So it is this awesome, weird bastardization of the American flag that is considered a legitimate American flag by the U.S. Flag Code. And
That's dope.
Wait, is there green in there?
No.
No, it's red,
sorry.
white,
You're
and blue.
colorblind.
Oh no. I just like he was like, I think these are the. God damn it.
It's a cool one.
Yeah. So that
That's
was where we
kind of
started.
neat.
He's close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that
cool flag.
flying in my apartment right now.
How many stripes were there?
I think there's 13.
Oh, you got that right at least.
Yeah, it was like there's some stripes. There's 13 stripes and 13 stars, and there's some red and blue and white in a box. You can figure it out.
They're just like, okay, we got this.
That's the other thing is like, we were talking about how people who were just absolutely insane about things. Ben Franklin,
I was just gonna bring it up. They
Oh
always
my
do
God.
him dirty. He's an older man that's balding. No, no.
Dude went to England and was like, hey, can you give us rights? And England said no, and he went and found a guy named Thomas Paine and was like, you're gonna come to America and we're gonna write a revolution together. And then they did.
Yep.
And you know how these two met? They were both Freemasons.
I didn't know that part.
Interesting.
Yep. They met
boy.
They met through Freemasonry.
Here comes the conspiracy.
Not yet. We gotta finish. We gotta finish the story, and then we can go to Freemasons.
Because God, now I want to talk about Freemasons.
No,
But okay, keep
wait.
that.
We finished the story first.
The only ending to that story is essentially that once the U.S. was done fighting generally, John Paul Jones was like, I'm not. And then I think he went to go fight with it was the at the time Russians or like Prussia or something.
I think he did go fight. I think it was. I want to say it was Russia, but it might have been.
Yeah,
Russia.
because there's a shanty from the English that's essentially like John Paul Jones is a pirate, and they list all of the people he fought for, and it was like, he got tired of the U.S. and he took money from the Russian or Prussian queen or whatever.
Yeah, it's if it's queen, then it's probably Russia.
Yeah. But
given the time
real
period.
quick, given the Freemasonry thing, is there something you want to tell them?
What? Oh, I am a Freemason. That is a thing.
Dun dun dun. So
I joined in 2021. I am not a 32nd degree Freemason. I am a
Yet.
4th degree Mark Master Mason. I think
So-
the Scottish Rite, that's where the 32nd degree stuff is. I think it's a little weird. It's a little funky. I read through the materials. I'm not sure how I feel about it.
outside
but-
of Scottish, there was only 3.
No, there's also York Rite. So Freemasonry is like the American version of Freemasonry, is what most people are familiar with, and then there's like a billion other versions of it.
So real quick, before their audience thinks
Yeah.
you're a Fed, do you want to explain why you got into Freemasonry?
Oh, I was watching National Treasure, and I was like, that's shit. That's like,
Will,
So
our
my-
tattoo artist, is a Freemason.
is it really?
Yeah, Will's been a
Will is?
Will for the last decade.
Well, now I
or
don't
2
trust
decades.
him.
yeah, no, I was.
He'll tell you everything.
Oh God!
Well, my
what is
understanding-
what is my
for me-
tattoos, dude?
My understanding of Freemasonry, like at least in a modern context, is that basically like it's just kind of a good old boys club. Like it's not. It's like people who like history and like a bunch of other shit, but like historically speaking, it was never like a super like Illuminati conspiracy. It's just a bunch of guys who are like, hey, we're all not retarded and we own businesses. Let's get together and plan how we're gonna do shit.
It's antique Facebook.
The funny part is the Illuminati is actually real.
That was a real thing too.
That's funny. You're talking about Freemasons, and then the Illuminati comes up, huh? Crazy.
Weird how that works. Weird how that
Yeah,
works.
no.
Weird.
I just know if I do any shit like that, it'll get screen capped forever.
Oh yeah. Well, just quick question, I guess. How old would you guys guess Freemasonry is?
It's fucking 300. No, it's 200.
Older than that.
No. Is it? No, never mind.
It goes.
It's
How technical are we getting with it?
11, 12,
Think big piles of stones.
1600 years old.
Pyramid formation.
The oldest document we have that is that is believed to be Freemasonry is from 1400.
Damn Jesus.
So about 600 years. But Freemasonry, as we know it today, does not exist until 1723. So you have a solid 300 years where we have no real record of what Freemasonry was or how it developed, and then they write this, kind of this new constitution for it, and that constitution is basically, hey, be a good person, go to church.
After they got helped by the
Or
aliens.
synagogue now, because now Jews are okay. That was basically what happened.
Post 1945, the Freemasons kind of changed their shit a little bit.
They stopped wearing Hugo Boss.
Yeah. So
It got awkward for a minute.
It's really interesting if you read through their earliest documents. Everything is explicitly Christian until 1723, and then they start allowing for other. They say as long as you have faith in the divine creator. They don't specify which one.
Genghis Khan style.
Some people
like
have
it.
suggested that's because Freemasonry was starting to become satanic and the divine creator was Satan. I personally, being a medieval historian, I think that it was probably a way of dealing with the Catholic versus Protestant tensions that were going on at the time. Considering this was in the middle of the wars between the Scottish Catholics and English Protestants.
Because doesn't the Knights of Columbus don't like Freemasons or
Literally, there were a bunch of Catholic Freemasons, and the Catholic Church banned Freemasonry. So people were like, "Well, what do I do now? I have no social club."
Pause. What?
You know the Knights of Columbus?
No.
you ever seen like a Knights of Columbus building in any
All
like
the
town or
time.
anything?
It's just Catholic
No.
Freemasonry.
They
It's,
wear
it's
funny
Catholic
hats.
Freemasonry. It's literally the same thing, but it's just like the Catholic Church version.
It's Mexican version. Love it.
What
Okay.
the way I differentiate it for people
If
is
you've
that,
ever seen them, they're very much not Mexican.
yeah, true.
The white version.
A lot of
of
Italians.
Catholics.
A lot of Italians.
Italians,
My
okay.
grandfather was
Mafia.
one. He was a third degree out of Columbus. But what happened was there were a bunch of Catholic Freemasons, especially in France, and the Catholic Church banned Freemasonry, and then all of the Catholic Freemasons went, what do we do? They said, well, you can have Freemasonry, but it's Catholic. And that's what they did. What I tell people is that the difference between the two main groups of Freemasonry in America, which is where most Freemasons are, I think it's like 800,000, is that you have York Rite and you have Scottish Rite. Most Masons do, a lot of Masons do both. Scottish Rite's the most popular because it's the least amount of work. You mostly go, you sit, you watch a play, and then you have your degree. Congratulations, you have completed your moral lesson. York Rite is a little bit more complicated. It's a little bit more work involved, and to finish it, to get to the end of the York Rite, because Masonry doesn't go up; it goes up to 3 and then out. In terms of the structure, it's lateral, not vertical. So it's not a 32nd degree Mason and a 3rd degree Mason are equals in terms of Freemasonry. In terms of the Scottish Rite, yes, you've experienced more of it, but the Scottish Rite is a little bit more of the esoteric sort of, weird, like Morals and Dogma by Albert Pike. That's Scottish Rite. It started in France.
All right, hang on. I got to get you to slow down here. So this is my job with him most of the time, is he'll get really deep and forget the context for most people.
Yeah, sorry.
So,
I know the entire audience is like us.
Huh? Yeah.
I'm sitting here curious how you level up, dude.
Yeah. So real quick, explain
How many
the play
Pokemon
thing.
do you have to catch?
Sure.
Yeah, so Masonry, you obviously have degrees. You have, sure, yeah, why not? Don't mind if I do. Masonry, you've got degrees, and originally there were only 2. The whole thing is based around geometry. That's why there are degrees.
That's what the G stands for, right?
Depends on who you ask. There are some people who are
That
Freemasons.
sounds like real quick. That sounds more like the autistic group, the Knights of Geometry.
like the pyramid thing. There's a G in it. I've heard it stands for God, and I've heard it stands for geometry.
I have heard from Masons, God, geometry, and gnosis, which is part of the problem. Is that Freemasonry allows for people of a lot of different beliefs. So
Gnosis?
you have people who believe, Gnostics.
I see.
Yeah. So you have a lot of people who believe that because some Freemasons believe it stands for Gnosis, that Freemasonry is Gnostic or Satanist or something like that.
And you want to explain really quickly the geometry element of it?
Yes. So Freemasonry developed out of operative stonemasonry. So people who build cathedrals, right?
Yep.
And we don't know exactly why it formed. We just know that over time, operative Masons started to develop lodges outside of just their meetings for, basically union meetings is kind of what these were like. And they started hanging out in social clubs.
It took fucking forever to get this photo up, but that's the Knights of Columbus.
Yeah.
It's funny because I've said this in a previous.
No, not at all.
I said that Freemasonry started as a Mason union, and people got super butthurt about it.
No,
in
he's
the comment
right.
section, but I was like, I'm pretty sure it started as like a stonemasons union, and then turned into a social club and all.
Yeah, dude, they just started having banquets.
Yeah, it was literally turned it into a social club. We don't know why. It seems so. One thing is that cathedral building was falling out of favor. So one theory is that all of these guys who had previously their job was to build cathedrals, as that line of work started to fade away, maybe they started getting together so that they could network better. And that because they weren't just meeting to do bylaws and things like that, they were starting to have more philosophical discussions. They were hanging out, having a few drinks, and then it slowly devolved into more of a social and charity club, which is what it is today. Now, I'm not going to tell you that there aren't Freemasons who do perceive Lucifer to be God, because there are some out there, lunatics, but there's a few of them. You're probably not going to get accepted to a Freemason lodge in America by saying, I believe Lucifer is God.
Well, it's kind of like rock music. It's like, I'm not going to tell you there's not people who like rock that, think Lucifer is king or whatever, but it's like, that's not the most people that listen to Metallica,
Most Freemasons I know are staunch Christians. I know a few Jews. And you've got Muslims, you've got Hindus, you've got Norse pagans who are Freemasons. And all of this kind of like just works its way through, because at the end of the day, what Freemasonry is about is the moral codes and doing good in your community. There are people, though, with any organization who are going to take it and they're going to make it weird. They're going to try and use it to their own advantage. And I'm not trying to do like a Freemason apologetics session here, because my point is like...
You're just speaking the truth.
Yeah, when I joined, the reason I joined is that, first of all, I was a medieval studies major who was super into the Knights Templar and was like, this is a cool group of people who, are generally misrepresented in media. Assassin's Creed makes them look like they're evil.
They look dope as shit, dude.
Exactly. And then the legend of Freemasonry is one of the legends of Freemasonry, I should say. The common one is that it developed when the Templars escaped from France, and that they had to go underground and they had to have some way of continuing to teach the things that they had learned while they were in the Temple of Solomon, these supposed secret teachings. And so the reason that Freemasonry formed was because these Templars were trying to find a safe way to do things. Well, what are Templars going to know a lot about? Cathedrals, because they live in basically castle churches. So that's one of the theories. I think there were plenty of people who were Freemasons who were bad dudes. I think most of the Freemasons I know are good people, but I think that's also how most people are.
And some, I assume, were good people. Exactly. Yeah. Sorry, what were you going to get at, though?
I don't know. What if we started our own Freemason group?
I thought about it.
Not Freemasons, but we start our own group of dudes who just uplift each other.
Dollar Masons.
Dollar Masons.
Yeah.
There we go.
Dollar Mason Club.
We got the dollar.
Oh god!
Use the code donut for 50.
Code donut. Get it for 50 cents.
50 cents.
That's how it goes. You're like,
Did we just create the Andrew Tate program?
The gang
think
starts
so.
a cult.
The gang starts a cult.
the tism.
All alone? Now time to trim the old pubes.
Hey there, beach babe. Are you ready to soak up those summer vibes and get the perfect beach bod?
I don't have pants on.
Yeah, I noticed. Well, you're in luck, because our friends over at MANSCAPED.com have you covered from head to toe. With the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, they'll have you looking and feeling good this summer. Trust Manscaped to unlock the confidence you need to turn heads this summer season. Join the 10 million men who already trust Manscaped and use discount code UNSUB at checkout to get 20% off your order plus free shipping. Let's make this summer your smoothest one yet.
Keep your ear and nose as tidy as your hedges. With the Weed Whacker 2.0 ear and nose head trimmer, you'll be looking classy as ever.
The updated Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra groin and body hair trimmer got a summer makeover. It's waterproof now for all those times you need to shave your groin or body hair at a pool party.
So get 20% off plus free shipping using code UNSUB at manscaped.com. The summer sun is here to stay, so trust Manscaped to keep those pubes at bay.
Do you want to tell the little tangent about AK? Not that kind?
Wait, which AK?
Hey, hold on.
Oh, yeah. So
Wait, first off, how is it being an autistic handler?
Oh, he's more autistic than I am.
I just like, you're like, hold on. He keeps you on track. You're like, no. He puts your horse blinders on. He's like, come on.
As we would call it, the Tard Wrangler.
He fucking took a deep breath before he went.
Are you guys beginning to understand why I'm sitting at the table right now?
You want to check out that
I'm
book up
glad
there?
he's here.
So
Yeah, the book.
Yeah, the book. You can check that out later.
amazing. So I will say the most entertaining part about that comment is we took a test.
He's reading it right now.
I'm technically worse than he is on paper.
On Viper.
On paper.
One time I had to come over to his place so we could do a business thing. You know where he was? A quarter of a mile away watching the trains.
Hey,
Oh, you're huge into
trains are cool, man.
Yeah,
He's not huge about anything.
No, I'm a very small person.
Compact.
I grew up. That was my mom's version of a
girth, we can talk
babysitter. We grew up next to a freight yard, and so when she wanted peace, she'd just drive the car next to it, read a book, and I just sit there and stare at the age of 2.
That's how you know your kid's going to be good at math.
Yeah. That's a shame I wasn't.
I was a dinosaur kid.
Yeah.
Those are like the two. Yeah, it's like those are the two autisms.
Yeah.
It's like, ugh.
Well, what's the shit? No,
Hold on.
Dinosaur kids rule the world, man.
Unsubscribe podcast canceled for describing autism as uck.
No, we raised 100,000 literally 2 months ago.
Actually?
110,000.
110,000 in a month.
Holy shit.
We'll never get
We
canceled.
got that R pass for life, homie.
Yeah, say retard. You're allowed to right now.
Wait, what was the autism political compass? Huh? The autism political compass, because trains, dinosaurs were 2 of the 4.
Trucks, I think, were one. Like trucks and heavy machinery.
Oh yeah, heavy machinery.
It was construction.
And then what was the other one?
Ryden loves heavy machinery.
Yeah. I hit I hit bingo for autism bingo card with like heavy machinery, marine biology. I think I was into for a while. Yeah,
I could pick a Diplodocus out of a lineup.
Now that I know your guys' relationship a little bit more, I'm going to have you guys do this for the first time ever as a team. We have our own superhero group for guests that come on the show. It's called the Offenders. You guys get to pick your own superpowers. But
Hold on. Can we explain our superpowers
But you guys
first?
get to ruin it?
well, yeah,
Yes,
we get
exactly.
to choose the offset. So for example,
Cody.
I can fly, but I have to shout racial slurs while I fly.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Brandon.
So I'm invincible. I cannot permanently die, but I fucking myself every day, and my body stays wherever I did it.
Oh.
So I get to wake up in the morning, and if there's 2 of me hanging from the ceiling, I'm like, man, we didn't handle Thursday well.
There's
Friday.
some mischief to be had here.
Yeah.
I have the powers of
Restricted.
like Professor Xavier, but it's only for like 8 to 15 seconds after I come. Post-nut clarity, man.
His name is Post Nut Clarity.
And then
I'm Crime Cuck. I travel at the speed of light, but I cannot interact with objects for 5 minutes after arriving.
Do your own math if you're trying to. He's trying to rescue someone from something.
Man, I will save you
in 5 minutes.
I got here really quick, but fuck.
This is
okay.
I gotta think of a superpower now.
Well, that's the thing. So you took mine because mine's always been flight, but I'm gonna do something different. But
You're a train bender.
Yeah.
Did anybody say
I'm a train, but I got a whistle sticking out of my ass.
Did anybody say invisibility?
Wait,
Rich.
what? Rich and
Was
yet
Rich's invisibility?
I can do something
We
else.
fucking breezed past the fact that his power was he's just a train.
That's it.
That was not the real answer.
I just like he transforms into Thomas the Train. It's his face and that his big old eyeballs. He's like, "Let's go, motherfucker!" Where? You're not on a track. Yeah, you're just stuck.
Given the working relationship, I figure he's the train, you're the conductor.
Yeah, basically.
Kind of, yeah.
No, I gotta think of one now. Damn.
Invisible, we had Rich. He has to masturbate in order to maintain invisibility.
invisibility.
So all you hear.
No.
Oh, that's great.
All right, let's see.
Stealth.
I'm gonna say super grip strength.
Oh no.
Only on your dick.
How does that make sense?
Only on other people's dicks.
I'm gonna use this for violence.
I just like when you're saving humans.
It's hands career man.
Oh, sir! He's holding a line of people up.
Hanging out a helicopter and just no.
Yeah, just
The
by
Captain
dick.
America.
Really? But it's 2 dicks.
You're hanging off the side of it. You're like, you don't understand. Drop your pants, man.
No time to explain.
I just like he has that no matter what. It's like super grip strength on anything is really strong, but he has to hold somebody else's dick during that power, which is where you come in. Pull it out! Aidan, no! Aidan, do it now! The Aidans show up. Team Aidan!
we
Dick
got-
in hand. He turns into a train
we've
with a
got-
massive penis.
We've got gorilla grip and side dick.
Oh my god.
He's just a train and a dick.
Yeah, wait. I gotta come up with something that'll complement that.
God, the ambiguously not gay duo.
The best part of this is that we both do have girlfriends that we've been with for a very long time.
They just go to a different school.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
say that
you
to
guys
you.
don't know.
You
They
won't
go to
meet
a
her.
different school in Canada and I met them at camp.
She's so hot.
They're completely real.
You wouldn't know her.
We like to
You
hang
don't
out
know.
together a lot and talk about how much maybe we miss them.
No, you can't see a picture of how much she's thinking about her. I'm gonna go with.
I just want my power.
Yeah, thanks for coming to our podcast where we just bully you.
That's good.
It's okay. We've been having people who are into like various really stupid conspiracies tell us that we're gay for like 3 years now.
We've been having people tell us we're gay for a lot longer than that.
And well, we've only been gay for like 2 years, so it's weird, you know?
They knew
Ahead of
before
the
we
curve.
did. It's crazy, yeah.
I'm just glad you guys practice your superpowers together. It's like, just let me feel it.
It's a team thing, you know?
Let's see how strong I can grip.
Aiden, I can't open this jar. Pulse pants down.
Yeah, Aidan.
Okay, but now I'm thinking about the logistics of it. If I got one hand here, how's the other hand gonna open the pickle jar?
Armpit that shit.
What, I wrap it around the pickle jar?
Gotta hold it in your mouth. I don't know.
Other Aidan's like, it wasn't even that tight.
Well, wait. To complement his powers, I'm gonna go.
And other Aidan opens it with like this. He's like, I can't get it, Aidan. He's like, let me see it. What?
I gotta throw some gas on this fire to complement his
no.
power.
Oh no.
I'm gonna go like Mr. Elastic style. I can extend my limbs as long as needed.
And your member?
Just in order to, as a team, he's gonna need that.
So you can stretch your dick out.
Exactly.
Oh, you know,
Exactly.
so what I
Yeah.
could do then is I could grab it and I could just whip you around
Exactly,
like this.
you last
and
one.
launch
That's
you.
the
Yeah.
offset. He has to be holding your dick.
Yeah.
You need each other.
Our powers only work when we're together.
It's the perfect team. He's running out the door with it. Aidan, go.
We show up like we're gonna save you. And they're like, no. Go away.
I'm here, guys. Hold this. I have to switch hands.
All I thought of was the scene from the Boys with the fucking dick
Oh God, yeah.
snaking in.
I couldn't watch it. I couldn't bring myself to
it was
do
so
it.
bad.
I couldn't bring myself. Did you warn me? I think you warned me about
I did,
it.
yeah.
So I will say this: Meat Canyon has stretchy powers, and he was the first person to come up with the offset on his own.
Oh God, yeah.
He was like, I can stretch, and we're like, okay, we get to pick the offsets. He's like, I have to beat my wife. And I'm talking about a chipped tooth and a black eye.
We're like, holy shit, Hunter. Is everything okay at home, man?
That was Hunter's immediate reaction.
It's like,
It's like it's not even like to save someone. It's like can't reach that on the top shelf.
are you sure the stretching thing was the superpower for him, or was it the other way around?
He said it. It was so funny, dude. He said it so matter-of-factly, too. He's like, yeah, I can stretch, but I beat the out of my wife. You're like, God damn, Hunter.
And a black eye. Like,
Honestly, nothing changes at home. I can stretch.
Oh my God. I hope you guys got him a case of Monster.
Oh God, no, his wife's not the drywall.
Jesus fucking
No. Love you, Hunter.
He's our favorite. He's been on a couple times. Yeah, you ran about communism.
Oh God.
You want to hear a Nick rant?
No.
Or a Nick history section?
I don't. What do you want to know?
I'm curious what it sounds like when somebody does a history section because I do them a lot.
Oh, dude, Nick, if you want World War II anything,
Oh, no.
this guy, that's what he's known for.
Wait, I haven't prepped for this. What do you want to know about?
What's a new? What's a story that's
So that guy
coming
with the
up?
mustache, what was his deal?
Oh shit! Something about painting.
I heard he was compensating.
You haven't. What's your next? What are? A couple
I'm dropping the
stories?
CIA art one today.
Then,
I think I kind of
one's
talked
good.
about
Yeah.
that one a little bit already.
talked
on
about that on the last podcast.
Yeah.
The CIA art one?
Modern art is a psyop.
Well, I knew modern art was a tax laundering scheme, but
No, it's a psyop.
Oh yes, I remember this. in
The
my
tax
drunken
laundering came after the fact.
damn, this is levels. Okay,
Yeah.
continue.
So modern art, specifically abstract expressionism. So like think Jackson Pollock, Kuhn, de Kooning. Basically, right after World War II, the CIA came out. Well, not the CIA, but the U.S. government came out and they're like, we got to beat the Soviets at everything. Okay, we need the most nukes, the best planes, we need the best music, the best everything. And they started putting money into different types of music and new forms of art because the Soviets were very like, we're going to do orchestra, classical music, and we're going to do Soviet realism, like very traditional art forms. And we're like, it's going to be tough to beat them at that because they're just going to state fund some 2-year-old to learn from the time and whatever. And we can't do that in America. So we're going to make...
We totally could have.
I mean, yeah, but it was easier to just be like, let's find some shit they don't have. So that's why, so like with music specifically, they took jazz and promoted jazz all over the world and made jazz popular, right? And then like the punchline with that is, you know, jazz leads to rock, rock leads to metal. Metallica does a concert for 1.6 million people in Moscow, and 3 months later, there's no more USSR.
Right, this is like
So
how
it's
Karl
effective.
Marx is responsible for 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, of course.
What?
I can't wait for you to get into that.
So anyways,
I could explain if you'd like, but you should continue.
Yeah.
Yeah, you keep going.
So the CIA that lasts for like 2 years, and everybody gets super pissed that they're promoting like modern art. The conservatives think it's a conspiracy theory. They go as far as saying that like abstract expressionism is somehow because a lot of the artists are communist sympathizers. So they go and they're like, these are like maps of our military installations or something, whatever. So the government has to quit funding it. So the CIA founds the CCF, the Congress for Cultural Freedom.
Okay.
They fund it. Nobody knows it's them.
All right.
It operates in 35 different countries. It's founded in West Germany. They own over 20 different magazines. They own entire news outlets, whole 9 yards. And all they do is promote like modern art, different types of music, and all this shit. And they hone in on abstract expressionism. So like Jackson Pollock, Kuhn, de Kooning, Rothko, and they start promoting the holy fuck out of it. Because all these magazines now, if you're an art critic, the only way you're getting your opinion published is if you have the right fucking opinion about abstract expressionism. And the whole idea is like, it's art for the sake of art. It's the true version of freedom, whatever. The communists can't do it. So yeah, we peddled millions of dollars and made modern art popular inadvertently.
that.
I love that because that brings me back around because I was going to mention this earlier in this episode when we were talking about
Killdozer.
perfectly
Snoring.
timed snoring.
That's how boring your story is right now. Connor's asleep.
I did think it was really funny as another history person that the moment we went to the history side of things, everybody got up and he started snoring.
But when you were talking about
I love
Homeboy,
history.
like being like when we were talking about the Malaysian flight with Homeboy, like you're the CIA's favorite fucking conspiracy theorist or whatever. Like, what are the odds? I've thought about this several times that the modern flat Earth shit was just the CIA's attempt at fucking discrediting conspiracy theorists that worked too well, and now a lot of stupid people genuinely believe it.
So the reason I'm hesitant on that one is that the original Flat Earth Research, the International Flat Earth Research Society, founded in 1958,
Big on levels.
peaked at like 3,000 viewers.
Yeah.
Like not viewers, sorry, members. Like, and basically what this was this dude, Charles Johnson, was sending out a magazine every quarter that he charged $25 for in the 90s.
Jesus.
Like, and he had 3,000. Think about it, 3,000 people.
God damn.
Yeah, I think at one point he was a monthly newsletter.
Our boy
So he was
making some fucking
A month
money.
he was doing it?
he was
do that
rolling in
math.
dough. And if you read the interviews with the guy, either he was like the original grifter or he was
750,000.
insane.
75 grand a month,
Oh, shit.
900,000
Zero.
a year. I mean, he's living it up in the
Yeah.
90s for 900
But,
grand a
so here's
a year?
the thing though, is like he says that and he gives you these numbers and you're like, okay, well
drive me
then
crazy,
where are all of the other, like, where's all of your property? Like you have 3,000 people paying you $25 every quarter. That's several $100,000 a year, and you live in a small house with a trailer outside of it on a ranch in California.
Right.
Like, you don't have a bigger house, you don't have more stuff going on, you don't have a nicer car. Like, a little weird. I don't think he ever had that many people, and of course, all the records burned in a fire in 1995. Of course. He dies in 2000, and the Flat Earth Society ceases to exist. It's gone. The International Flat Earth Society, he had all of the mailing lists. He and his wife are both dead. They don't get passed along to anybody because who the hell wants the Flat Earth Research Society member list?
I want that fucking 900 grand a year, but
I want it now.
You love flat earthers, right?
I hate them.
You love them.
I need to be clear that when I say I hate them, I don't mean like, haha, I think they're stupid. I don't like their belief. I don't like them as people.
you're like, I just want to be abundantly clear. It's not that I disagree with them. It's that they don't go to heaven.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just like cyclists.
Just like cyclists and who else?
And Ashton.
Have you guys ever been in a scenario, you might have, like, anybody with a military, it's not comparing it to that, but have you ever been in a scenario where you're watching something unfold and you can't do anything to stop it, but you wish you so very much could?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like every time I pulled over a sovereign citizen.
You're talking to
yeah.
Kronk here.
Yeah,
Of course he does. I watch it all the time. They leave at the 4-minute mark. I follow them.
That was me an hour and a half into our flat Earth debate. Do you want to explain what happened there?
I may
Did you
have called
debate
my
somebody?
opponent.
It was.
Wait,
You called them a what?
I called him a sick, arrogant son of a bitch.
I thought slur was what you were going to say.
Not the worst thing you could call somebody, but I will say it did make me sound like a 1960s radio host.
I wonder if you could get by with calling somebody like that an N-word. Is that?
I don't think
Everyone's
so.
like, it's okay.
Only if they're white.
But here's what I need you guys to understand about who this guy.
flat earthers are.
This is a man. This is a man.
The one flat earther I debated was black.
Really?
I actually did. Like, it's just somebody a girl I was dating at the time, somebody that she knew that was like a very close, like, family friend. And, very nice guy, very cool dude. Aside from that, but you could just tell, like, the fucking YouTube algorithm just hit this motherfucker. Like, it's just, and they believed everything they heard. It's like, you realize, like, oh shit, I wouldn't trust you to give me directions anywhere.
Oh, I hate
I've
these
never
people.
seen a black flat earther.
Same.
dude.
I didn't know they existed.
It is weird. It's mostly white dudes, and I will say it does not take them very long to get into a certain territory when you push them on it.
A certain territory?
Yeah. Hate being anti a certain group of people.
Well.
Yeah, it takes them about 3 steps.
Yeah.
Like,
That I'm
let me
actually
guess.
surprised by.
The letters on their keyboard that are most worn out start with N and J.
So here's the thing: if you ask them who's behind it, a lot of the time they'll be like, "Oh, NASA's lying," and you're like, "Well, who's behind NASA, guys?" And they go, "The Freemasons," and you're like, "Well, who's behind the Freemasons?" And they're like, Wait, what? Oh no, I mean, nobody knows. Like every single time. It's like we all know what you're saying here.
Do you have a lot of debates with
Not really.
flat earthers?
Yeah, wait. So you had? I'm assuming it was on a podcast or on
I did get into a bunch of Twitter fights with them.
Yeah, well, that was part of the problem because you had a lot of Twitter fights beforehand, and so you came into that loaded.
God, you guys are gonna get along
I
great.
may have said that I think the world would be better off if all of them stopped breathing.
My favorite part though is that they're
Mine's
if we're at the fucking ranch, if we're at the ranch, like we're debating flat earthers on Twitter using Starlink.
I love that.
Satellites.
I love this.
Do we like my favorite video is the one where like we're disproving it and they do the light test and they're like, if it's here they'll see it. It's like, wait, we can't see it. Hold it up higher. They go like this. It's like we see it now and they're like,
Yep. Well,
what?
one of my favorite parts was that maybe 10 minutes into the debate, we were like, all right, so, what I would ask then is, if the Earth is flat, then you should never be able to see the midnight sun in Antarctica, right? There should never be a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. And he's like, exactly. And as we've seen, there's never been a video showing one. They had a couple of them, but then they admitted they were fake. And we pull one up, and it's not the one that he said was fake. It's one that he admitted. He was like, yeah, that one's real, but you can't see the sun for most of it.
Because it goes behind clouds.
It goes behind clouds. Aidan proceeds to perfectly track in real time where the sunspot is behind the clouds, and the mouse comes out of the clouds on top of the sun perfectly.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then Austin goes, well, yeah, but I mean, like, you can't see it behind the cloud. You don't know for sure. And we're like, you can see the sunspot, man. Like, it's there.
Literally, I'm using the mouse to circle it as it goes around, and it's like, look at that.
And then it comes out perfectly timed, and he's like, and it wasn't even like it was the second try or anything.
Yeah.
It was the first try.
Yeah, and then the whole the water thing.
Yeah,
that was entertaining.
Wait, what is the water thing?
So,
God, dude, this is again. So when you have like to this level, it's not conspiracy theory. It's fucking retards. It's when retards are given an inch and they're in that book, and they will, no matter what you can show them proof, they are going to still deny it. No matter what, they're like,
Well, that's just like your opinion, man.
yeah, that's all that matters. It's your
Just
opinion.
your opinion, man.
I was gonna say, do you want to explain the curve thing and then where it went for the over the ocean stuff?
I can't remember.
It started with him trying to claim essentially that it was all due to the refraction.
Which thing are you talking about?
Oh,
Wait,
this was right before he.
This man
exploded, I
really
forgot.
believes that the Earth is flat.
Oh,
100%.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh, well, no, here's the best part of it. All right, right. Here's my favorite part. After we finished the debate, I found out, do you guys know Audit, the channel that goes and like looks at police interactions and rates how
I
they
know
went?
him.
Yeah, it was Cody. Are you aware?
Cody, have you ever heard of a police breakdown?
He has a video breaking down how an arrest went. And the guy I was debating was the one being arrested
Oh, God.
Oh, I know the video you're fucking
by
talking
the
about.
National Park Service.
Yeah, they're in front of a gas station, right?
No.
Wait.
This
Oh,
one
is
they're
this
in
a
front of Mount
different one?
Rushmore.
Okay.
Wait, what?
No, in this one, he gets arrested by the National Park Service in front of Mount Rushmore because he was demonstrating in an area where you needed a permit. Now, right behind that area was an area where you didn't need a permit, and he refused to move. I'm like, would you like to apply for a permit right now? We could probably get it for you today. And he's like, no. And then he's like, do I need to explain the law to you? And then they proceed to be like, not really, sir. And he's like, well, show me the ordinance. So they show him the ordinance. They're like, well, show me the citation. So they show him the citation. It's like, show me the law.
So he's a fucking sovereign citizen too. Okay.
Yeah,
This makes perfect sense now.
And I'm just watching this, and I'm like, it must have been a COVID thing because everybody's wearing masks. It looks like it was 2020, 2021. He was wearing a lab coat. My guess is that he was up there giving some lecture on, how the vaccine's got a microchip or something like that. And
And they made the Earth flat.
yeah, and he gets
COVID.
arrested by the National Park Service.
That's our new shirt, dude. COVID made the Earth flat.
Anthony Fauci
just
personally
gonna be-
took a roller and flattened it out.
Yep. Fauci made
That's
the
an
Earth
easy
flat.
graphic.
We're gonna get
That would be
like
a great like political cartoon, like just Fauci with a rolling pin over the planet and no further context.
what the fuck do they
Trust
call
the science.
what do they call the ceiling over the flat Earth?
The firmament.
The firmament.
Which
It's
come-
gonna be
The fuck is that?
Our new shirt is gonna be the flat Earther map. We're
it's like
in
a
a big
dome.
snow
It's like a
globe.
dome
We're
over
in
The
a
Earth is
snow
flat
globe.
and we're in a snow globe, basically, and the glass of the snow globe is the firmament.
How do
We're
how
gonna-
do they describe other planets?
Are we on the back
Oh,
of the
they're
fucking
just,
turtle?
they're just
They're holograms.
They're lights
They're
in the
night
sky.
lights for
They're-
kids.
They don't know.
Something like that.
So we're gonna have the
Why
flat
did I
Earth.
ask?
They don't have an answer. We asked. It was the first thing I think I asked him was, "What are the sun and moon, and where are they?" And he said it didn't matter. And then I asked him, "What are the other planets?" And he said, "Well," and I said, "When you look up into the sky and you see, other bodies moving around in space that rotate around the sun, what are those?" He said, "They're planets, or what we call wandering stars." And I was like, "Okay, and what are they?" And he was like, "I don't know. It doesn't matter." And I was
Is
Science.
by the way, this is within the first 5 minutes.
Is the round Earth in the room with us right now? like,
This is dude,
classic.
and I
Those
I
aren't real planets. That's not real communism.
I asked
Quit
him how
asking
solar
questions.
eclipses worked. He said it didn't matter.
Well, he did let it slip after you exploded why he is a flat earther. And it's not actually even what we think it is to an extent. It's in the live somewhere, but essentially he says something along the lines of like, I'm tired of these like schools teaching my Christian children like all of this like atheist science BS.
Yeah.
And it's like essentially he went on this like very small rant kind of like underneath like in the background of like the whole debate that was happening, where it was like the whole reason that he was believing in flat earth was because he began to mistrust science because it was atheists, and now with how divided politics has become, he's like, oh, well, if they're going to lie about everything, it probably goes down to the shape of the earth.
Which is like, yes, question everything. No, don't deny everything.
Yeah.
Because
There's some stuff you're just like, I don't think you flew here, right?
Yep.
you fly him to a
I've
fly
had
him
that
to the
conversation.
debate and tell him, by the way,
That's what I'm like.
you're 3 hours in, look out the window.
Just once.
There is somebody actively right now running something they're calling the final experiment, which I personally believe is an unfortunate name that they should not have gone with.
Horrifically. I was about to make that joke, dude.
Hasn't one died going like he took a balloon or a rocket up?
Sounds about right, probably.
I think one flat earther like rode a rocket or did something where he went up to disprove that there was a curvature on the plane of Earth, and he died.
Yeah, wasn't it the Chinese guy in the chair full of fucking fireworks?
No, wait, didn't he build his own rocket, but
Yes.
then like his parachute failed or something?
Yep.
yeah.
Like a dude was like, look, curvature, and then the parachute fell. It's like, fuck, I'm a retard, and hit Earth and died. God, I hate
Didn't go to heaven.
No, it's the whole thing is just.
I hate this as a whole thing. It's a whole
And,
thing.
well, and the thing that bothered me, and I even said this in both our video and the podcast, that like part of the reason I decided I was going to go after Flat Earth was in defense of my faith, because I don't like the idea that you have all these people who are suggesting that Christians believe the Earth is flat. Because the Bible doesn't say that, and no, we don't.
Well, again, explain the firmament bit real quick, because that's like a big crux
The
of their
firmament
argument.
was what you were saying.
The dome.
dome.
There's like,
I've never heard that
If you're
before.
in a rocket
ever
going
been
up,
to
according to
Israel?
them, you'll just fucking hit a wall before
Yeah.
you hit outer space.
Yeah.
And that's the firmament.
I think we proved that wrong several times.
just
the
thinking
This
past
comes from,
couple
I think,
times.
Genesis 7, where the Bible says, or sorry, not Genesis 7, I think it's Genesis 1:7 or something like that, where the Bible says, and God there were the waters that were below and the waters that were above, and God put a firmament I'm trying to remember the exact verbiage, but to divide the waters from the waters that were below from the waters that were above.
Which one would believe to not be a literal fucking glass dome.
Yeah, there are a number of options here, like, underground aquifers versus groundwater, and then there's also the water on the planet and the atmosphere. There's actually I can't
It's just
remember.
like someone was like, nah, God meant this.
Yeah,
He's huge into glass work.
I'm just imagining like one of these fucking SpaceX rockets hitting like Chris Hemsworth in like Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
Just like this hex grid of
Oh, well, that's the problem, though, is because there are a lot of TikToks out there where it's like rocket hits the firmament, and it's just basically a SpaceX rocket at like the right time of day where I think they use either hydrogen or something like that. No, it's not hydrogen. Fuck that. They use some form of fuel essentially where at the right time of day it glows this like really like interesting and pretty like blue and green like iridescent, and then it reaches the maximum dynamic pressure in the atmosphere, and the whole like trail it creates explodes and fans out. And everybody in the comments is like, it just hit the firmament and exploded.
It's like, no, this is fucking science. This is how things work.
Also, like, you can watch an actual space vehicle explode. It happened in 1986. We know how it looks. It doesn't look like that.
Oh yeah, didn't one of them like try and deny the Challenger?
Yeah, the one we debated.
Yeah, just making sure.
Denied the Challenger explosion. Yeah.
Wait, what was the reason for denying that?
There are 3 people currently alive in the United States today. The United States has somewhere between 350 and 380 million people living in it. Apparently today, there are 3 people in the U.S. who have the same names as those astronauts, are the same age, and look somewhat similar to them. Not identical, keep in mind. But, I mean,
about
40 years have passed,
about that
right?
age, white.
Yeah.
Weird.
Literally. It's like, now keep in mind, every single one of these people has high school transcripts, they have driver's licenses, they have all sorts of things proving that they are not the same person as the astronaut bearing their name. And yet they're like, well, because
Also,
these people exist.
Witness protection ain't that bad.
That was exactly when I was arguing with some people about it on Twitter, that was exactly my point. I was like, we actually have examples of how the government handles making people disappear. Yeah. This is not it. They don't give them the same name and the same face and send them back to live in a different state. That's not how it works.
If there's someone right now is typing out very angrily in the comment section, stop.
Fuck you. No.
I love like
beat me to
That
it.
is literally, it is that moment where you're like pissed because what we're saying, and you're like, these boys are bullshit. First off, how'd you connect to the internet?
Starlink.
Congratulations.
No,
yeah, like anything, but maybe just take 1 second to take a step back. Understand this is way bigger than anything you will ever understand. But random dude on the internet that probably can't count to 1,000, not your best source.
I also love the fact that we brought on like some of the conspiracy tubers of YouTube just to shit on conspiracy theorists.
Well, that's the thing. I get pissed at him because I'm like, man, I'm trying to do good work here. Like,
You pissed off. I like you. You apologize to like the National
Park Service.
Yeah, because you're like, I'm sorry, I was an asshole.
like, sorry for accusing you of hiding the Wendigo. That was my bad.
But you did the right thing. You're like, you know what? Don't know as much as like
Exactly. I was like, oh, you know what? The National Park Service, National Park Rangers are actually pretty cool from what I've seen.
And that's
So,
the
like-
awkward spot we're in now, though, is because we started out like he was way more a believer in it than I was. I was kind of always the resident skeptic on the channel. But we've gotten to the point where he's done so much academic research in this area where it's like now we can pretty definitively debunk most conspiracies we encounter, except for the select few that were like, no, that's fucking real.
Like Tuskegee.
Yeah, exactly. But the problem is that like,
that happened.
Yeah, there are a lot of people out there that want to believe in these conspiracies.
That's the problem is when you come at something wanting to believe it, you can pretty much defend anything you want. Doesn't mean it makes it true. It's just if you want to believe something, you fucking can, no matter what, no matter how stupid it is.
Yeah, it's and the way I've classed it as time has gone on, when I see conspiracy theories, and I said this on our show on Sunday, we do a live show on Sunday nights for anybody who's interested, 7 p.m.
Go pimp that shit.
name the show.
It's just the Lore Lodge. It's just on our channel. It's just our live show. It's called the Lore Lads.
Yeah, you
technically.
rebranded it. Like
We
a month
rebranded
ago.
it, yeah, because we wanted to put both of them on Spotify. Couldn't have them both be called Lore Lodge. That didn't really make sense. Also, the Lore Lodge official podcast is kind of a mouthful. Yeah, Lore Lads fits better.
Yeah.
But what I found with conspiracy theories is that you've got the ones that there's some legitimacy to. And those are like Gulf of Tonkin, the USS Maine, Tuskegee.
The Liberty.
Oh God, let's talk about that.
But
Wait,
yeah, so
which
that's,
one?
No,
Tonkin?
let's talk about the USS Maine.
Oh, you brought that up in your most recent video, at least
did.
at time of recording.
he's so happy about
I
this.
just
He's like finally
You wanna
somebody
see
else who
Nick?
knows about the USS
Watch
Maine.
Nick's
Yeah, no.
tism unfold. Nick, go.
Go ahead.
I know.
What are you talking about?
Do it. No.
Here, I'll finish and then he can decide if he wants to start. But what I've been
No, let's
saying,
start with where you're at on the USS Maine. What do you think happened?
what do I think happened?
Yeah.
Which one was that? Was that where the people were like phasing through the
No,
fucking...
that's-
No, Spanish-American War.
That's the Philadelphia experiment, which
Okay, I was thinking
being
about...
from Philadelphia, probably not a thing that actually happened. We have absolutely nobody talks about it in Philadelphia. It's just not a topic of conversation that we have.
They're way too focused on the birds.
That's true. Yeah, you know, if you ever watched Always Sunny, it's a documentary series.
Yeah,
Do
it
we
is.
watch Always Sunny?
It is a well, yeah. You guys have the thing, but it's we refer to it as a documentary series because, like, yeah, that's the city is very accurately represented in that TV show. It's great. But anyway, what I was saying about the conspiracy theories thing, you've got the real ones, and then you've got stuff like Flat Earth and Tartaria, and what's another one we've looked at? Maybe Chan Thomas, Adam and Eve story.
Yeah.
Hollow Earth.
Hollow Earth.
Yeah.
Hollow Earth is the one that I'm willing to entertain, not because I believe it's possible, but
Like
because
King
at least
Kong.
it's fun.
Nephilim.
Oh,
All right,
Giants.
so-
Are we talking about giants?
Talking about the Giants, dude?
Where's Isaiah?
I'm asking.
Where is he?
We need to manifest
Is
Isaiah.
Isaiah in the room with us right now?
The problem is every time that
Wendigo
word
3 times he appears.
every time that word comes up, somehow he pops up somewhere behind us. It doesn't matter
Yes.
where we are.
There's a great meme picture from a couple of years ago of me doing one of the podcast episodes solo from the cabin I was at with Isaiah, and he just walked up behind me outside the window that was right to my back, and just holds an M1 Garand just like this, staring straight ahead. And I didn't know he was there.
Yeah.
I think I realized somebody in the chat said something about it, and I was like,
And you wonder if he was or wasn't fucking with you with the sounds like the day later.
but he seemed so serious about it.
He's a good actor, man.
Is he?
I will say, they got into the vehicle earlier. I was like, hey, ignore the SRS cover in the back seat. And they're like, we've hung out with Wendigo. I was like,
I've been to his
never
house.
mind.
It's pretty normal. You should see the shit that's in the back of my truck right now.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, no, it's dude, like I've got a rifle sitting up on a shelf in my bedroom, and my girlfriend's like, I don't want to see it. I'm like, I could never get away with what he has. I'm so jealous. I have envy of his ability to just display things openly.
My woman has a running joke right now for our house because obviously I've got just a shitload of guns that, like, whether we're doing videos with it or just they're around the house, in my office, whatever. Is she jokes that the first thing I say when I walk into any room in my house when I'm thinking about decor is where a gun go.
Yeah, where a gun go.
Where a gun go.
You gotta always have one in reach.
One in pretty much every fucking room in my house.
Yeah.
That couch not mixed with AK very well. We're trying to find one for each room.
I will say, like, the worst experience I've had with firearms going back the 6 or so years that I've owned them was definitely when I bought my first handgun, and every single one of my friends, who several of them work for GOA, I got a 40 cal because that's what they had and the kind of gun I wanted. That's what I could find
The
nearby. I got a
disappointment
40.
on your face and in your voice.
And my thing was, I just want to have something for self-defense, and this is what I can afford right now. So I got, a nice
That was
M&P
certainly
shield.
one of your options.
I got a nice M&P shield in 40. I looked it up. I was like, this is a well-regarded
you could say you got a
handgun.
nice M&P shield or you got an M&P shield in 40.
So that's the thing, is that for the last 4 years of my life, this has been what I deal with.
Way nice.
So I finally went and picked up a 45, and I'm going to get a 9 too, and now I'm just going to have one in each caliber.
did I or did I not influence you for the 45 a little bit?
Oh, no, it was that they didn't have a 9 when I went.
That was part of it.
Well, they had a 9. It's just that the 9 was $900 and the 45 was $200.
What was it used?
Yeah.
Did they find it at the bottom of a lake?
I don't know why. Apparently, the M&P shield does not resell well.
At 45, if I seen that for $200, I would
take
have bought
it.
a 45.
I'm not kidding. It was like
That's high point
$265.
price.
I'd gone in to trade my 40 cal, and as I found out, nobody's interested in buying 40 caliber handguns.
Nope.
So they offered me $85 for it, and I was like, I bought it for $650. It's worth more to me to have a second gun than it is to have $85. So I bought the 45, and now I just
I'm
got
looking at that now.
9.
I don't think I have over 1,000 guns on my license right now.
That is terrifying.
We have over 1,000 guns. I don't think
so
I
much
own
money.
a single 40.
No, I don't mean that's terrifying as in like I'm scared. I mean like how did you spend that much money on guns? I don't even know what I would do.
Oh, I'm not done.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
We all have a lot of.
You know what? You know what fucking kills me about Glock, dude? And I press this on my channel.
Are we gonna talk
often.
shit about Glock? Can we talk
I
about
guarantee you
Glock?
it's
I
the
love-
naming.
dude,
it's the
I-
naming scheme, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Guess
because-
what caliber the Glock 22 is?
Not 22.
No,
40.
Glock 19.
What's the Glock
9.
19?
Glock 18. 9. Glock
9.
40. What's the Glock 40? That's the shorty.
40 up
The Glock
is
40 is
9?
a 22, isn't it?
But
No,
no,
Glock
I thought it was a
44.
compact
The
nine.
Glock 44 is a 22.
the Glock 40 is the subcompact 9. What's
Glock 45, I think, is a 9.
What's the Glock 45? Is that the 20?
I think 45.
Oh, you're the
is
one
like
in 45?
Yeah.
Is a 21. You see, with this is a
Well, this is a problem. This is
Fucking
not
say
good.
Glock, you know what would have been real simple? Glock
You-
45.
you know why they name
version
it?
2.
You know why they name it that way,
It's their
right?
patents, right?
Yeah, the patent numbers. Patent number
Still-
21. Patent number
Still,
22.
fuck you, Glock.
It's awful. Yeah.
But yeah, this has been the thing. Is like I have a bunch of friends who are
Most German thing I've ever heard.
Wait.
Enter
Hold on.
Gaston Glock.
What's the Glock 40?
Rest. There's a ton of them. Glock 40.
That's
God,
is that not a 22? The Glock
22? Yeah, or no, it's 20, 22, 23.
Yeah,
and
it's
27.
And then the Glock 22 didn't come out till a couple years ago, and the Glock 22.
Oh, the 22 caliber is the
Yeah,
Glock.
I
See
know,
why
I
this is a
see.
fucking
Same.
problem?
There's
Yeah,
a Glock 22
it's the Glock 44.
caliber, and that one, real Glock Gaston would have never made the because it's like plastic piece of shit.
He was still alive when that was made.
Really?
Yeah, he died
He
fairly
died
recently. Like last
yeah,
couple
he
months.
died
last 6 months.
I remember this
Oh,
happening.
damn.
Like,
Never mind.
I think
He
I was
made
on
that.
Pop Culture Crisis when it happened. Like that week.
I know I keep managing your schedule frequently because you never look at a calendar, but I do not recall.
Okay, before we end
guys are
No,
so
tell
cute.
me what happened to the USS Maine.
yeah, that's what I want to know.
Oh yeah, shit.
Captain
what about the
Gripstreak,
name?
go.
Captain Grip Strength. Oh, good God.
So, like, for Cody, do you not know about the Maine?
I no. Not
Very
at the
start of
moment.
this Spanish-American War, there was a ship that was off the coast of Cuba that spontaneously exploded. The media ran with it, said that Spain blew it up, and to this day, it is hotly debated what actually fucking happened.
Yeah, and my opinion on it is that
Wait, what year was this again?
1898,
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
It was either 98 or
There was
99.
the
Ballpark
Spanish
is correct.
Empire was falling by the wayside strength-wise, and Cuba had a revolution against Spain. America was like the new country trying to be the world power, and we were helping the Cubans overthrow the Spanish so that we could be a premier world power because we didn't want any European empires anywhere near us.
Monroe
Okay,
Doctrine,
so
baby.
it was a U.S. Navy ship.
It was a U.S.
Yeah.
naval vessel in
Yeah.
Havana Harbor that was basically delivering aid to the Cuban revolutionaries to fight off the Spanish.
and it just blew up.
And it blew up. And then the U.S. media said that the Spanish did it, and that was the reasoning of joining the Spanish-American War.
What's that quote? It was something like, "You take the pictures, I'll write the news," or something.
Something like that. Yeah, it's like referred to as like yellow media.
Yellow journalism.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Where basically they're like, "I don't give a fuck what the truth is. You get me the goddamn picture, and I'll write the story."
Right.
The way I see it, and this is something that I've run into because a lot of these missing persons cases and things that we research, some of them go back into the 1800s, and some of the stuff we research for other stuff goes back that far too. It's hard to find a lot of documentation from back then. You're usually dealing with secondhand sources. Very rarely are you finding a personal journal or somebody who was actually there. So when I look at stuff like the USS Maine, I can see us doing it. I can see the U.S. government doing it. It's believed that it might have been a boiler explosion.
See, you can see them launching a false flag event, or you can see them using it as an excuse because something happened.
Something also
Exactly.
interesting.
Which one of the two?
That's so.
This is also real quick. I was curious about this because it's relevant to the conversation. I was wondering if there were any survivors, and apparently 90 of the 350 men survived.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I didn't know that.
They weren't that far offshore, so people were able to swim to safety. I think there were other ships in the area as well.
I'd be curious to hear their takes.
Yeah, my thinking on this would be that I'm not sure how the Spanish would have managed to blow the ship up the way that they did. If we're talking about 1917, sure. U-boats, torpedoes, all that. I don't know if the Spanish had torpedoes at the time. I don't know if that was a technology that even existed.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I've heard it said in books, but I don't understand.
Yeah, my thinking on it is probably that it was probably a boiler explosion that was an accident, and
We used it as an excuse.
It might not even have been the government at that point. It could very well have been the media just being like, "Oh my God, the Maine exploded. It was the Spanish."
Yeah.
Could have also been the Department of the Navy. That could have been like, "Hey, this is a good excuse to invade Cuba."
Building 7 looking submissive and breedable.
But yeah, so that's kind of my thinking too. Is like it could have been a boiler explosion that was just accidental and they used it, or it was a false flag and they planted an actual bomb on the boiler and blew it up.
Yeah, threw some dynamite on that bitch.
I'm not sure if the Gulf of Tonkin incident was them being like, hey, it worked the first time, or if the Gulf of Tonkin incident was like, hey, we can replicate that.
Yeah.
You know, I think we were looking for a reason to kick the Spanish out, because that was, I think, probably their last real holdout, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Their last real colony?
Well, no, they also had the Philippines and they had
in this part of
that area, Guam. That's
further
away.
But like in
Puerto Rico.
In the Caribbean. Oh, they have Puerto Rico at the time.
I think they had Puerto Rico because we acquired Guam.
Right, as part of the end of the war.
And Puerto Rico at the end of the war, and then we bought the Philippines for $12 or $20 million. Bought.
I think that's
America.
Isn't that
This are now. We
less
buy.
than we paid for Alaska, or more than we paid for Alaska? Something like that.
Probably.
Hey, Eli, your McLaren's mine for 10 grand.
Yeah.
If you have big guns, I'm like, okay.
Well, no.
I'm not arguing.
But here's the thing. I'm not mad about the USS Maine. I don't care if they lied, because it gave us Teddy Roosevelt, and it gave us the Rough Riders, and the fact that there was an American cavalry unit that fought in cowboy hats and flannel is enough for me to be proud.
How long are you in town?
You guys have us on a flight out tomorrow.
Yeah, it's up to you.
Tonight, do you want to go to the Menger?
I don't know what that is. Sure.
The Menger Hotel, downtown San Antonio. There is the bar. It's right next to the Alamo that Teddy Roosevelt recruited the Rough Riders out of. He rode his horse into the bar, shot a fucking handgun in the ceiling, said basically, you want to live forever?
Isn't the bullet hole still in?
So
allegedly, I want to say that that's the story.
Yeah, that's the story. Is the bullet hole still in the bar?
But they have like a museum section dedicated to like Rough Riders shit, because that is the bar, and it's still attached to that old ass hotel that it's very much historic San Antonio.
Because the other thing is, we wanted to go to the Alamo and film a quick little like YouTube short TikTok where it's like, yeah, we've been down in San Antonio, seen some of the sites, but I feel like I'm forgetting something.
What did I forget?
Like, and we just want to, it's cliche, but we feel like we're here, so we have to.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say, you specifically would love this guy, but somebody I would suggest to contact and maybe bring down, it's Tuskegee, Stephen Bell. He has a show called History of Everything. Like, you guys would love him.
I've been on it. He's cool. I know him.
Yeah,
I have his
really?
number. Yeah.
Yeah, he would be a good guy to bring down.
Right.
He's a fun guy.
I'm going to hit up Jack.
Fun to drink with, too.
We're going to do Alamo things with Jack, dude.
Wait, let me
Did that in Nashville with him.
now I want to hear your version of this.
Oh, it's like the cleanest cut thing on the planet to me, the USS Maine. So like it's like you said, it's like stuff back then is not well documented. The USS Maine is pretty fucking well documented. So they sent the Spanish did an investigation and America did an investigation as soon as it fucking happened. And pretty much the entire debate was it explosion internal or external? If it was external, it was for sure intentional, done by somebody, by a mine. And if it was internal, it was probably an accident. And it was ruled external. External it goes back and forth on all these different studies. And then 5 or 10 years after the fact, after the Spanish-American War, they went and built a fucking coffer dam and pumped all the water out of it, and then re-examined the USS Maine where it was, and then did it again. There was like 8 different studies, and they launched another one in 1974. Then National Geographic did one. It's been done over and over and over again. And it's like they actually found that with the USS Maine in particular, because it was a coal-powered ship, and it had a type of coal that was known for spontaneously combusting, because coal emits methane, which is a fucking flammable gas. And like, I'm an electrician. I've worked in hazardous locations with flammable gases. They didn't have the right precautions back then. And there was a gap. There was a gap between where they kept the coal and where they kept all the black powder. And they're in a harbor off a country known for how good its fucking cigars are. Like, you tell me what happened. It's not that complicated. Like, you know what I mean?
I'm gonna admit something embarrassing right now, which is that the last time I went camping, I got a little impatient with the charcoal grill. And
that's not what I thought you were going to say.
So there was some charcoal dust when I
want to hear your story next.
That'll be later.
I pulled the lid off to check on it because I was like, what is taking so long with this charcoal? And it just did not appear to be burning. And I got frustrated and I went to like flick the lighter at it.
Oh.
The dust.
Yeah. So fun story about charcoal
my
dust.
eyebrows, my eyelashes, my hair, everything was singed. Everything was singed. And I will be honest, this was only the second worst experience I had with gases in the air, because when I was a bouncer at a bar in college, another guy in the bar made mustard gas in the bathroom.
Nice.
We're going to talk about that next time.
Wait, what? Oh, fuck. I was just going to say, fun fact about charcoal dust. One of the main ingredients of fucking gunpowder.
It's charcoal
Very
dust.
combustible, as it turns out.
Hey, there we go. Cody, kick us to the after show, you beautiful son of a bitch.
Guys, thank you for joining the Unsubscribed podcast. I was joined today by Eli Double Tap, Fat Electrician, the Aidens from Laura Lodge, Brandon Herrera, and myself, Donut Operator. Catch us on the after show on Patreon.
Where do we find your content at?
Oh, yeah, you can find us at The Lore Lodge right on YouTube and also basically any other media platform. And I'm at the Aidan Mattis on most things as well.
You will never find me.
That's fair.
That's a challenge.
His address is...
Do you want to redact that real quick?
You will never find me. You haven't met.
You just
our
called out.
autistic
You just called out the
community.
internet.
Yeah.
You will probably find me, but I'd recommend you don't.
Dude, this community
probably
is
better for
fucking
you.
Savages.
Anyways, new shirt idea. It's going to be the flat Earth diagram, right? Except it's going to be in the shape of a puzzle piece.
I love it.
Ryan's rolling.
just like the stars in the background,
not a
and it's just
firmament,
Earth
it's
on
a
a puzzle
mathement.
piece.
Wait, I used to sell, back when I was like still working a marketing gig, I had a side business where I sold t-shirts on Teespring, and one of them said it was the Always Sunny in Philadelphia font, and it said there are only 1,784 ATF agents.
Just an exact number.
Only was carrying a lot of water on that sentence, but yeah.
It wasn't written in bold, but it might as well have been.
Yeah, it was, but we had another one that just said commit tax fraud.
I mean,
that was
right
my
here.
best-selling shirt.
So
I've seen those around.
We
It
have
might
this-
have been mine.
We love you.
Love you.
Bye.